All right. Yes, we are now live for the House of Horrors. Stephen here with Miss Boomstick as always, and we are continuing Women in Horror Month with our guests who will be here shortly, uh, Jessica Cameron. So we'll be talking to her tonight. I don't know if let's see if it came on live on Facebook too.
Yeah, it is.
Okay. Oh, I see it. Yeah, I see a Facebook like just popped up. So whoever's in Facebook, so that's good.
Yeah, I got it pulled up so I could keep an eye on it.
Cool, cool. So, yep. All right. So
Make
how's
sure
your
if you
week?
want your comments, I'm able to flip back and see who does it, but if you want your name listed with the comments and you're on Facebook, make sure you click the link above and grant SteamYard access to your Facebook so your name will pop up. If it just says Facebook user, I probably won't use your full name just in case you don't want it listed because I don't know. Um, so just a heads up there. But if you want your name listed, just grant there's a little link right above the stream. It says streamyard.com/Facebook. All you gotta do is grant access so we could see your name.
So
Hello,
you'll exist.
Doomsday.
Hey, what's up? So, all right. So what's been going on?
Not much. I've been working on a couple projects.
Nice. Yeah, I saw you were streaming yesterday the game, the Quarry, but
Yeah.
I was at the movies, so I like kind of saw it, but I was like, oh, but I can't really watch it right now.
Oh,
But
that's all good.
uh,
It's still up for people to watch. We just did chapter 8 because I was running late.
mhm.
So I just did chapter 8.
Yep, you're almost there. I think it's either 9 or 10 chapters. Nine, I forget, or 10. So.
So I did chapter 8, and then sometime next week. I wanted to do it before Friday, but I got so busy. Then I made a community post Friday saying I'm going to stream at 1 o'clock, and then I fell asleep in the chair watching a movie. I was like, oh crap, man! It was like time to pick up my son. By the time I woke up, I was like, oh man, it's 3 o'clock now. So I made another post. It's like so it was like 5, 6 o'clock at night by the time I started streaming it.
Right.
But I made a Facebook page for Miss Boomstick. On there, you'll be able. I'll post links later, but you follow that page, you'll be able to see. I have links to everything I'm doing in
Okay.
there. So if you want to follow anything, any of my little creations I got going on, follow my Facebook page. And
Kind of like
then
the link tree or whatever, where it has all of your
basically,
stuff
yeah,
together.
it's kind of like a link tree right now. I should do a link tree as well, but I also created an Etsy page, so got that
Oh,
going. So I've been working on a couple projects this week.
all right, all right. Yep. Like I said, not too much besides seeing Scream 6 last night. That was awesome. So my theories didn't really pan out. I sort of figured one thing out, but there was more to it. Then I'll just leave it at that. I'm not going to spoil it, but it was good. So
Nice.
definitely worth seeing. So I do agree. Some of the people were saying it had like since one of the best openings since like the first one. So yep. And I like how it's actually in New York City, unlike Jason Takes a Boat Ride in Manhattan, where you think he's going to be in Manhattan. They actually utilize the areas in New York, and so taking it out of Woodsboro for the first time. So it was enjoyable in my opinion. So I actually haven't really heard anything bad about it yet. So I guess everyone's been enjoying Scream 6. It's interesting. We already know they're going to do a 7. I'm kind of wondering how else they're going to. Who's next?
Oh, shoot. I didn't realize I had the sound on that one. Sorry, my bad. That was my fault for the echo.
Oh. Echo. Oh, wait. Echo's not here yet. We can't do the Echo yet.
Yeah,
I'm sure he'll
I
pop
didn't
in.
mean to do that. I popped over to the YouTube page to see how things were going over there, and apparently I had the sound on. I normally have it off so it doesn't echo.
Uh,
My bad.
so how you doing, John? What's new with you? So I know you and B, you're doing your show. Been checking out. Been crushing that. So that's been pretty cool. I guess you got a couple people from Night of the Demons coming on this week or next week. I forget. So everybody check that out as well. Let me see what time is it here. I'll go ahead and send Jessica a text just to see what she's up to. Let her know we're ready whenever she is. What's funny is I don't know if you saw the end of last week's show when I was announcing her for this week. I accidentally said Jennifer Cameron instead of Jessica. I'm like, oh, and I clicked off so fast. As soon as I clicked off, I'm like, oops. But it's kind of funny because in 2 movies, her character was Jennifer. She was, of course, to Jennifer. And then in Truth or Dare, her character was Jennifer. So that was kind of funny. So I guess maybe it's her evil twin. I don't know.
Did she catch that you said that, or did you?
Well, no, she doesn't know. I'm going to tell her that. They'll be like, oh, I was probably thinking about your movies. Of course, I clicked off and I realized the second that I ended it because you had signed off, and then I was going to announce, of course, like I always do. And I was like, yes, and next week we got Jennifer Cameron. I click, and then as soon as I clicked off, I'm like, stupid, no. It was funny. Oh, okay. You put the link in it. That's weird.
I went ahead and did that.
Yeah, that's fine. But no, that was weird for a minute. My comments were off, and then I had to click on it. I don't know what I did.
Yeah, I saw that too, but I thought it was something I did on my end. I didn't know it would show up on yours as well.
Yeah, cleared out all the other stuff or whatever. I mean, it came back because they're back up there.
Right. Yeah, I saw it, but I thought it was because I'd switched to my page and went back. So I thought it was just on my end. So I guess not.
Maybe because you're also a moderator on it or whatever, and it just connected. I don't know.
I don't know. It shouldn't affect you though.
You ghosted my computer. You ghosted my computer, when they hack into it and to fix stuff. Okay, just sign on here. That's funny. Who knows?
Yeah.
So how's everybody else tonight? What's been going on, new people? Leave a comment.
Yeah.
Let us know.
Speak up. Hold your peace.
Speak.
Oh, yeah, not too much. I've just been so busy working on my stuff, trying to create the page. I still am not completely done with it. And then, so I made the Etsy page, and I got a couple items. Hey, Chadrick.
Oh, hey, just writing. Oh, yeah. So, how's that script coming along? Oh, Waffles is here. Hello.
Then I guess I can, while we're waiting, I was going to wait till afterwards, but since she's not here, I'll go ahead and share my links to this as well.
Yeah. And if anybody else wants to share anything too, always welcome, of course.
Yeah, well, they'd have to be a moderator or send it to me.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah. If you want something to be posted in there, send it to me. I can
post it. I don't think anyone else can do comments that way. That's right. Yeah, I forgot.
Waffles also seen Scream 6.
Yes, it was good, wasn't it? I was saying just a minute ago, it wasn't none of my original theories, but I sort of figured out something in it, which I'm sure you may have had your ideas while watching it of a suspect, but had a good twist to it though, that's for sure. But of course, don't want to spoil it for people who haven't seen it.
Yep, no spoilers. I have not seen it. Don't make me block you. I will.
You're like, bye forever.
I know nobody here would care if I blocked them, but still. Yeah, don't ruin it like somebody ruined it for me on Scream 5.
Well, prepare to be spoiled. Ghostface is the killer.
Oh, no. I don't know if I can watch it now.
I ruined it for everybody. I'm sorry.
Hey, Mama Steve.
Seen 3 of them. Yep, you haven't seen 4 in the new one. Or the 2, 4, 5, and 6. Which is weird. Scream 5 is just Scream. And yet this one's Scream 6. Like, I don't know. It's like we know it's Scream 5, people. We just call it Scream 5 anyway. But yeah, it was great seeing Kirby back. So
Yeah, that's one of the things I'm most excited about is Kirby coming back.
well, you know how in Scream 4 she's like the horror movie person in it, and then in the 2 newer ones, Mindy, the 2 of them, they have a really great scene together. It's hilarious. I'll leave it at that, but it's so funny because they're both horror fans.
Yeah, I've seen people posting the cups. Waffles said they did fantastic job marketing it, especially with the Scream popcorn holders and the drink tops.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've seen people post. I haven't been able to go to the theater, but I've seen people posting about that, and they look adorable.
Yeah, the drive-in theater unfortunately didn't have anything there. Scream. I was disappointed.
I don't know.
Like, we wanted to stay. Like, we would have stayed to see Cocaine Bear because they do like 2 movies on the same screen. But the one they had on our screen was we didn't stay. We just left. Was The Menu, which I don't know why they had The Menu on there. It's like, why couldn't you pair up Cocaine Bear and The Menu's already out on DVD.
What was paired up with Cocaine Bear?
Violent Night, which is out on Blue, which is weird. Oh, okay, and looks like our guest is here.
Hey guys!
Hello.
I am so sorry.
Oh, you're fine.
How are you all?
Yeah, we were just talking a little bit about Scream 6 and Cocaine Bear. I went to Dothan last night at the drive-in, so we were just talking about that.
I have been dying to see both of those films. So
yes.
I've just been eagerly waiting. I'm actually super excited about just like the state of movies and the fact that movies survived the pandemic.
Right.
Yeah. So people saying hello to you.
Hi guys, welcome.
Welcome one and all. So how has your week been?
It's been good. It's been really good. I feel like the world is kind of getting out of COVID. Everybody is like in the movie world is accepted that like don't mind the dogs. Sorry, we have dogs.
I have a dog and cat. I'm sure you're going to hear one or both at some time in the stream.
We'll see if yours is louder than my little queen. Sophie, she's like, I want to be on the podcast too.
But bring her on. It's all right. We have animals on here.
Yeah, go for it. Mine make appearances. Go for it.
So I was able to support some friends' films. We got to go to a theatrical screening of Craving, which is an independent film. So shout out to our dear friends Ashley and Kevin who worked their butts off on that. But it was great. It was the first independent film screening since the pandemic started that felt normal. Mm-hmm. So that was a really great way to start off the week for me personally. And it was such a wonderful blessing to be involved in that and to see like the crowd come out and support. And it was at First Glance Film Festivals. They do a horror screening a couple times a month, or at least they're trying to. So I love the fact that they're like getting back on track with that. So it's been a really good week. How about you guys?
Yeah, just working, saw the movie and getting ready for tonight. That was my week, but it was fun. Caught up on some TV shows, and so that's pretty much it. So wait until just counting down the days till the next convention. So that and going to Pennsylvania, and so that's pretty much what I got going on.
And what is the next convention?
Spookala will be the next one I'm going to go to in Ocala. So that's in June. So I wanted to go to something in May, but I'm not sure because I'm going to be filming a movie and don't know the exact date. So I can't buy the tickets and then find out when I'm going to go. And that would just be bad. So
true. And that's how it always works. You could like get there and then, you buy your ticket. And right as soon as you hit the pay button, then you get the confirmation that you have to be somewhere else.
It's like, no.
You're like,
it's
really?
like I'm going to.
Really?
It's like, now I know how other people are when they go to conventions. It's like, oh, that's still work. It just pops up. So got to do it. It's like, my life is going to be hectic now. Let's see. Nope, I'm not going to drink. I know I said Spookala. So, but since it's Women in Horror Month, when you were growing up, was there any female actresses that inspired you to get into the business at all?
You know what? I'm old school. So for me, it was honestly Jamie Lee Curtis and all the girls that were in like the very classic franchises. You know, we're talking Friday the 13th and well, obviously you see Child's Play behind me. I'm a huge Child's Play nerd. Love Child's Play. I still stand behind the fact that I think I haven't seen the newest Scream, but up until the Scream revitalization, I still feel, even though Halloween is, I think, a perfect film, the original, the first one, I still stand behind the fact that I thought that Child's Play overall as a franchise worked the best and is like the strongest as a whole. But that being said, so all of the girls in the original ones, obviously Jennifer Tilly, I remember seeing her in Bride of Chucky. To this day, I think she's not only just a great actor in the horror community, but just like also in general, she's just such an exceptional force. But Jamie Lee Curtis, I go way back to thinking, oh my God, this is exactly what how you want to behave in a horror movie, like a survivor. And then obviously, as I would get into the industry, you know, I got to meet some wonderful, beautiful souls as well and became further inspired.
So when you were in school, did you like do any plays or take any writing classes, TV productions, anything along those lines?
So you know what? I didn't, because I grew up in a very small town in Canada, like teeny tiny itty bitty. So I was actually like 30 minutes outside of a small town. So the small town itself that I lived in was like 500 people. And then we were outside of a 21,000 person town. So when I say it was small, it was really small. So there was a theater department, but all the people in it were kind of annoying. Like they were the kind of people, not to be rude, but like they would break out in song. Like, you know what I mean? Like you would just be like sitting there and they'd be like, the sun will come out tomorrow. And they do it as badly as I just did it now. And I'd be like, oh my God, no. Like this annoys me. Like I don't want to be around that person.
So it was like a real life musical, except not a good one.
Exactly. And I've never been into musical theater, but that's kind of was like the thing. Like they were all like these musical theater and it just wasn't my thing. So I never did it. And I was like, okay, I studied fashion design and merchandising. And it wasn't until I started doing that in the real world that I realized I hated my life. I needed a creative outlet. So I always loved horror movies, but honestly, I never thought about doing it as a job because I was always told you can't make money on it. You can't live off of it. And by the way, you can't. I'm joking. You can't. It's just hard. But I never got into it until I started working in fashion design and merchandising. And at my first job, I was at a major corporation and they said I spoke too quickly and they insisted that I do something to fix the problem. So when I couldn't find a speech class, because this was in Ohio, when I couldn't find a speech class, my people, oh, there we go. Say now I don't feel so bad. It's not just me. When I couldn't find a speech class, my immediate boss, who thought it was ridiculous, but it came from her boss's boss, suggested, hey, why don't you just take an acting class and then talk slowly around the stupid people? It'll be fine. So that's what I did. But it was the best thing ever because like I was having all these like those life-changing moments that you can only have when you're blissfully in your 20s and you don't really have much real responsibility. You know what I mean? Where you're like, oh my God, what have I done with my life? I hate this. I hate fashion design. I can't go back now. I studied it for years in school. But it gave me a creative outlet and I just fell madly in love with it. And I found myself taking every class I could and then desperately trying to get on any set I could. And in Ohio, it's a hobbyist market mostly. You have a bunch of passionate souls that make mostly horror movies on the weekend, which was great for me because it's my favorite genre to watch. And that's kind of how that went down. And then I very quickly figured out what was my escape plan from fashion. I was like, this sucks. I don't want to do this. I just want to make scary movies all the time.
Yeah. So did you get like involved in short films prior, and which was your first movie?
Anything. Short films, industrial. When I was trying to like save as much money as possible, right? Because I knew I was leaving my good job to like pursue a not financially good job. Right? I knew that. So I was trying to do everything. So I even did like I forget what they call it. Maybe somebody watching will know, but there was like this job where you basically you sign up with through medical schools and medical training facilities. So like what
Okay.
like people are going to school to be a doctor, and you essentially go in and play the character. So like you're assigned. So it's kind of like an acting exercise, but it's
That's
actually
what Danielle Donahue does.
Yeah, I was just about ready to say, but I didn't want to interrupt her. But
What is it
Yeah, I
called?
didn't mean to interrupt. I'm sorry. But
What is it? There's a name for it, and I forget the name of it.
I don't remember either. But yeah, she's talked about it before.
So yeah, so it's supposed to help train doctors, nurses, and medical professionals on how to deal with it. And you get given like ridiculous things. So like you get like a list of like your symptoms and your history, and they have to treat you like you're a real patient. And there's also some really, really sad ones. Like there was one where it's like you had to test. Hi, Cammie. You were essentially playing. They had to give you bad news that you were dying or that your loved one was dying. So like to train them on how to do that, and you have to act as though you're really like, how would you react if you were really getting the news that the cancer's terminal and you're not going to survive? And the goal is just to be as authentic as possible to really make sure that the people who are in training get to experience what would be like real life hands-on training. Because like, by the way, also the first time somebody shares that news, they almost always freak out. Like it's really hard. Like, and they start crying. It's very emotional. So I did that. Just anything I could to kind of like practice the craft and save as much money so I could come out to Hollywood and chase my dreams.
Friends, you need
I was going to say, friends to the end.
That's amazing.
And I love it too because it's like appropriate size. I don't know why coffee mugs exist that are like small. It doesn't make sense to me. Every caffeine fan I know needs like, if it's not the size of your face, it's not enough.
It's pointless. Like, why have it?
Oh, somebody in the chat says it's called Standardized Patient Actor.
There you go. Yes. Standardized patient actor. There you go. I did that. I actually loved that. I thought it was super fun. It was basically like acting class, but paid. So, and in a lot of places like Ohio or like everywhere, if they have schools or training for doctors or medical professionals, they hire that. So you can find it anywhere. So for everybody who's always saying, but nobody does any acting in my small town. If you have any kind of facility, they will do that.
I might have to look into that. I mean, that sounds
fun. But sometimes like they give you like, there was like this random like hillbilly, you stepped on a piece of pork and it gave you this something. It was like a weird, some of them are like they have to play detective. So like you don't want to hide your diagnosis, but you have to act as though you don't know it. So you have like these 4 pages of like lifestyle and daily activities, and the goal is to see if the person can reduce what it is that you're suffering from. And some of them are really weird and ridiculous and hard, and some of them are kind of embarrassing, which I also really liked because it really takes you out of your comfort zone. Like the one of them, like the person I was playing had some major medical things wrong, and one of them is she had severe diarrhea. So you have to be able to talk with a complete stranger about this medical illness that you have, which is really good for just making sure that you are super comfortable in very uncomfortable situations.
How are you? I have diarrhea. Please help me.
Like super fired. So,
it burns.
Yeah. Well, and they ask you, they're like, well, how long does it last for? And you have to like, again, like you have to be in the moment. So as though you're actually suffering from this affliction, even though you're not, but you're supposed to act as though you are.
Interesting. Yeah, it sounds like a really good job. So we've learned with Danielle and now you, it sounds like a really good thing for people to look into.
If you're looking at acting or like just fascinated by human circumstance, I think it's really good. Yeah. And it's a consistent source of income. When I was trying to find more acting work, it can be really hard to find good acting work that pays. So this paid, I think it was like, and keep in mind, this is forever ago, like 15 years ago, it paid like $25 an hour. So that was really good money at the time in Ohio, where the cost of living was really low.
And Terrible Just Awful says, that's smart though. They're all going to have to be real life Dr. House, a nice reference, where they are just heading random symptoms and have to narrow things down. I like the Dr. House reference. That's nice.
Right.
It's like, or The Good Doctor. I am a surgeon. That's such a
I
great
haven't
show,
seen
though.
that one, so I can't really reference that one. But yeah,
That's a really good show. Yeah. So
It is a good show. I haven't watched all of it, but I love the acting in the medical dramas, like because when they're also like in it. Also because like I hate real life medical drama because it's like one of those one of the banes of getting older is the people that you know and love do suffer from various medical afflictions. So I quite enjoy when it's on screen, not in my real life.
right.
what is that there? Not sure what that is there.
This hearts.
Oh, okay. I had to bring it up.
She's just sending hearts.
Yep.
Aw, we love hearts.
But
And
11 parts.
it says on your IMDb, well, it says in the trivia part, so this could be real or not real. But it
Oh,
says
I love this game. Is it real or not? Let's find out.
we've learned
We'll take
before
a
that
poll.
not everything on IMDb is not real. But it says your favorite roles are Potpourri, Mr. Hush, and Camel Spiders. And then
I
your
mean, it
role
might have
as-
been after I just made those movies, or maybe the directors were like, "We're just going to doctor this."
it also
I will
says
say, like, I enjoyed all of those for various reasons, but those were all quite. There has since been an abundance more. I probably should go in and update it, but those are all very near and dear to my heart.
right.
Camel Spiders was like one day, so it's hard to say that's like your favorite role. Well, I mean, here's what I will say about Camel Spiders. If you guys haven't seen it, it played forever on Sci-Fi Channel, and because of some shady stuff with the paperwork, we've never seen a residual. So, which is just the irony, because everyone's like, "Oh my God, you must have made so much money from that movie," and I was like, "I made $125 because we shot 27 pages in one like 18-hour shoot day." I'm not kidding you. We shot like one 18-hour day, but it was with the Jim Wynorski, who is iconic in so many ways, all good and bad. They're all real. However you feel about Jim, I feel all the same, both good and bad. He knows how. He's the only director I could ever work with who'd ever be physically capable of doing 27 pages in one 18-hour day. Most of us drove 3.5 hours or so to set because they shot it in the middle of Indiana. We had one meal, no craft services, no liquids. We were shooting mostly in places that didn't have functional bathrooms. It was a challenging shoot. So if you guys are new, like in the non-indie world, they shoot like 1.5 to 3 pages a day. In indie world, 7, 8, 9 pages, not uncommon. 27 pages, unheard of. Unheard of. So.
Yeah, actually, I came across it a long time ago on the Sci-Fi Channel, and I know I enjoyed that movie. I rewatched it not too long ago. I think earlier this week because you were coming on.
Oh, well, thank you.
Yay.
Here's the thing. I think it was super fun. You know what I mean? Like, I think it was fun. I think it's one of those movies where it's camel spiders. You're watching a movie about giant spiders made for the Sci-Fi Channel. Okay,
Yes.
It's exactly what it should be for what it is.
Yes.
You know, but sometimes people are like, I can't believe the CGI was not better. I was like, what were you
It's Sci-Fi
expecting?
Channel. What do you expect?
This is not a Michael Bay movie, sir. This was made for the Sci-Fi. We shot a third of the movie in a single day.
I mean, that's the point, though. Just to have fun, just watch it, be entertained. You know.
Exactly.
And also,
And you know
also
what?
on Voodoo.
Set, we all had a great idea. Some of the actors on that set, who I haven't worked with since because they were all Midwest actors, and I don't think even all of them are acting anymore, but they were so kind, so sweet, and so fun. They were just a really, really fun group of people. And we were put up in oh no, that was a different movie. I worked with the same producer on another movie that we did for like 5 shoot days, so luxurious by comparison. And on that movie, he put us in a literal crack den. Like we found a crack pipe. And we're like, oh, this is a problem. It was like a really, really sus, like I don't even think it was Airbnb because this is like going back to like 2010. I don't think we had Airbnb.
I don't think so either.
Right? Like, oh God, I don't think we did. Probably for the best. But also, like, does Airbnb do crack dens? I don't think so.
I don't know. I've listened to some horror stories from there. I've never did Airbnb, so I can't personal opinions, but I've listened to like horror stories from there, so I wouldn't be surprised sometimes.
I mean, I've seen both good and bad. When it comes to Airbnbs, this one was definitely a bad. But you know what? At the end of the day, the worst day on a film set is better than the best day doing anything else.
Yeah, that is true. It also says that camel spiders made you realize that you have a fear of spiders.
Well, I already had a fear of spiders, so
Oh,
I was
gotcha.
already very well aware of that. But it definitely doesn't help.
True.
But like also like the bane of my existence, if I'm afraid of something, I'm going to come across it. That's just how it works.
Yes.
So like I've literally been eating a sandwich and seen a spider come down from the ceiling and like hang out right here. And I was like, the odds of that happening have to be less than winning the lottery. And yet I do not win a lottery. However, this is ridiculous. So I don't like spiders. I'm actually one of the things that I religiously do before I go to film a movie is I research what are the poisonous spiders that can kill me that are local to wherever I'm filming, because I have such bad luck with coming across any of the spiders that could kill me.
I hear you there. I worked at a warehouse for a little while, and one of the main reasons I quit, it wasn't like the reason, but one of the reasons is because they had an infestation of black widows. And black widows are not really native to where I lived. So they were, because they were bringing in shipments from all over the world. So you can open a box of stuff and there could be a poisonous spider from Australia in there. I'm trying to think of somewhere, there could be a surprise bug.
Real life arachnophobia, the spiders being shipped across the country.
Right.
No, see, and like there's only one thing, you have to burn it down. Right? Like you have to set it, it's fire. It is no longer salvageable. I'm very sorry. I hope your insurance covers it. Like you have to burn it down. You can't. You can't. No, like I can't even. I honestly, that was like when I first started acting, I was like, can't move to California. They have too many poisonous spiders there. And eventually I did get over that. But like even like I almost didn't. I was invited to Monster Fest to premiere Truth or Dare years ago, and I almost didn't go. Free paid trip to Australia, because if you Google poisonous spiders from Australia, it is a whole franchise in the sci-fi world.
The whole place is poisonous. We'll put it that way.
Everything will kill you, and they have a cheeky sense of humor because apparently they have like friendly spiders, so they just want to hang out and be your best friend. So luckily, I didn't come across
spiders rat too.
Right? I thankfully didn't come across any of them when I was in Australia, but like I was prepared. I was like, God help us. If I see anything that is the size of my face, I'm going to just black out. I'm just going to do that. Like I'm not going to survive. But yeah, no, it was horrible. So I've always had a fear of a spider. It's so weird. It's stupid. Like I'm smart enough to know that it's an irrational fear. Like I'm obviously able to kill a spider so far. But it still doesn't stop it from being any less intense personally.
Right.
So
unless you don't see it coming, I say it's a rational fear because they're so little, you don't always see them coming.
Right. And then they like manage to get away and you can't find them. And then like, where did they go? And you're like, I can't sleep. Like if I cannot sleep. If I see a spider and I know that I haven't killed it, and I'm sorry, I do love animals. I don't consider them an animal. So
sorry, I'm laughing at this comment. They have spiders you can walk on a leash in
Girl,
Australia.
They do. They're horrifying. They are absolutely the worst. So I just don't know why. Like, and again, I understand they like get rid of the other bugs. Don't care. Don't like any of them. No, thank you. And I have cats for that reason, because like in my mind, the cats kill the bug, like the spiders, because like they kind of play with them and then unintentionally kill them. But like it's just not okay. So no. But by fluke, also because I hate spiders, I did camel spiders, and then I also did a movie called Utero where my character births a spider baby. Yeah. And then I was attached to multiple other movies that didn't end up going, that were all like spider based. And I was like, well, it makes my job easier because like you don't even have to pretend to be scared. I just have to visualize what I'm seeing, and I'm terrified.
Like I'm good, yeah.
But like birthing in the Utero is not out yet. I'll let you know when it comes out. I'm really hoping it does come out because it was shot really well and the practical effects are gnarly. And they had at one point like these multiple giant spider legs coming out of my like to like look like it was a lot of practical effects. and it was frightening. Like, even like, again, it makes the acting in the scene really, really easy because it was absolutely horrifying.
Not as much anymore, but my son used to be super terrified of spiders. And we went, and he's held 2 gators. We're from the Midwest, so gators are not around here. But we went somewhere, and he held like a baby gator. One time they had the mouth taped shut. The other time it was free roam. Gator mouth wasn't. He was absolutely fine with that. But the minute the dude that had the spider put a tarantula on him, he was done. He was just frozen and could not move. I didn't notice that he put a tarantula on him. I just noticed he was being weird. I was like, "You've held an alligator before. What's the matter?" And he's just frozen and can't move. Then I realized the dude had put a spider on him. I was like, he's got fear of spiders. Can you take that? It's like, he's fine with the gator. Just take that.
No, I like, and people always think I'm joking, and I say this in all seriousness. I would rather have an intruder breaking into my house, actually successfully getting into my home with a knife, than a spider. Like, because I don't lose. I feel like in that scenario, I don't lose my shit. And when it's, I'm assuming we can swear on this. It's a horror podcast.
Yeah, you can say whatever. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
No, but like a spider, I lose everything. Like, I'm not a functional person anymore. So like a guy with a knife, okay, cool. Like, I know my mission is to get either a knife or a weapon that is better than yours on it. Like, okay, I can keep my head clear and I can find something. Spider, I lose everything. I'm not able to function. And it's an irrational fear, but I feel like that's exactly what they are.
Yeah, I had one time. Our living room's pretty big, and I was sitting there watching something, and I had a spider go from one end, and I was sending pictures and documenting it to my husband because I knew he wouldn't believe me. But it was like going there, and it headed towards me, went to our ceiling fan, got on the string, and I actually got video of him spinning on the strings. Just playing. And then came off of that, and then I found him on the bed, like coming up on the bed with me, and I was like, "Oh hell no!" I captured him in like a little pill bottle and let him outside. But it was a big black spider about that big. I don't know what kind it was, but I was like, "There's no way he's gonna believe me that it went from one end of the house and like came at me."
Yeah,
Even
it just wants to be your best friend.
Right.
Meanwhile, it's like, no. I'm sorry,
was
you were not
stalking
invited
you.
to this bed, spider.
This way. There was a question up that said when you mentioned like the crack den location, goes, was it on the human zoo?
No, it was it was a movie that I forget the name of it. It's never been released. I don't think it ever will. I actually independent film. You're always so entertaining. I'm pretty sure it was like a financial tax scam. Like, the producer wanted to write off like $600,000 on a $6,000 movie. So everything was like fake and forged. So I don't actually think we'll ever see the light of day. But it's older. But no, Human Zoo, which was John Seymour, who was a wonderful human being. We actually shot most of that. We did part of it at a studio that has been shut down, unfortunately. It was Dual Vision Studio, and it didn't survive the pandemic. And then we shot the other part of it. He had set up which Human Zoo is. It's an interesting concept. It's basically a bunch of contestants try to compete to see who can stay in the cell the longest, and whoever stays in the cell the longest gets a big prize. And so they made one cell, and they basically shot like all of the actors in the cell for like 3 hours and then intercut it. So the cell was made at like a random garage of a home of somebody involved with the project. So, but yeah, it was a good one. That one was definitely not. And they were so professional and so kind.
When I watched it the second time, this was a while ago, it was released by Wild Eye. The first time I watched it, I was like, okay, it's, I didn't really I watched it again. I'm like, okay, this is kind of like how maybe like animals are treated sometimes, but as humans. And I appreciate the second time I watched it more. But yeah, it was an interesting.
I think it was so at one point he had a 9-hour cut, and I believe that because I forget how many contestants there are. I want to say there's like 11 or 12 of us.
I
so you
think
figure
yeah.
You have 11 or 12 contestants, and then you have the people setting up the game. It's hard to do that. It's something that I think might have translated in more depth to a series, because it's just trying to do that in 90 minutes is hard. Like when you told me he had a 9-hour cut, I was like, of course you did. You had all of us like giving you really good stuff for like 3 hours in the cell. You know, so like, how do you intercut? You did 2 minutes here and 1 minute here and 3 minutes here and 2 minutes here. Like, it's going to be really challenging. So the fact that
Mhm.
you got it finished, I was really impressed. But in that one, he let us all, part of the audition process was you picked a character. So he told you the concept, and then you got to present your character that you wanted to do, and then he cast you based off of that. So I didn't audition with my character. Like, I didn't, it wasn't a traditional format where you get the sides and the character type, and then you, as an actor, prepare that. I created the character, as did all of the other actors. So, and I was surprised at how many, spoiler alert, selected. So like, we also got to determine if somebody survived or not. And I was like, guys, how come everybody's not like, don't y'all want to be in the sequel? Like, as a working actor who needs a paycheck, like, I don't want to die if I don't have to. Like, give me more money. Let me come back.
It's like, I want to be in Human Aquarium next.
Right? Yes, I do. If you're casting, call me.
Yeah, it was interesting though, the breakdown of people just going nuts in this small little cell there. So
Right? But when you think about it, you're like, oh man. And side note, I had actually been approached whenever I first came to LA, the first couple years, I had the most random series of reality TV people that somehow found me and really wanted me to do their shows. And there was one show that it was in an underground bunker with like 12 random people. And it was for like 6 months or something. So I didn't do it because they make you cut all ties to the outside world. And I was like, oh God, I can't bear to like not be around like my family or anything for like 6 months. Like, a lot can happen,
Yeah.
you know?
I mean,
So
that's not
I
even a
ended
month.
up
6 months is half a year. That's a long
right.
time.
But also, like, as an actor, as somebody who's trying to, like, get more work and be consistent, you're like, how do you not do any of your job for a year either? Like, because also, like, so much of what we do is not about just paying our bills today, but it's like setting it up so that, like, that job that's shooting in November, that one that's going in July, so like, I'm MIA for like 6 months. That's going to have like a multi-year recourse.
Mhm.
But yeah. And so that movie specifically really spoke to like my experience, because I was like, okay, I could see where the draw would be there for people to do it. Where
Yeah.
people were like, I can stay in the cell longest. I'm going to make all this money after like 2 months of work. Sure.
Mhm.
And the reality of the matter is, much like in the movie, also with life, it's never really that easy. Now, is it?
Yeah.
And it also says on the IMDb it was 2013 when you stepped behind the camera. What made you decide to start doing that?
Oh, so okay, so that is actually true. Yay, IMDb, something is true. So I had been kind of producing and helping friends produce movies, but not wanting to take credit. Back in the late 2000s and early 2010s, there was like what I think was a very misinformed opinion that you couldn't wear multiple hats and do them well. And I think that we're kind of over that, which I'm really happy for. But like, I had this idea, everybody that was around me had the idea that you never wanted to be a hyphenate, because then you wouldn't be doing one thing really well. So I would kind of ghost produce but never take credit for it. So I decided in 2013 to direct. I had this idea with my co-writer John Higgins to do a movie called Truth or Dare. And I really loved the concept, and we ended up writing the script, and it was one of those scripts that just came so easy. All the horror, all the scary stuff, all of the great things came really, 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 like, it all just made sense, and I really wanted to make it. So we cast the movie, we cast it with people that I had worked with previously, and all the characters were kind of written for the people that I wanted to work with again, which was really great. And then I had a list of 6 directors, so I was a writer and producer, and I had a list of 6 directors that I really wanted to consider doing it. 3 of them automatically said, you have to tone down the script because it was really graphic. It was designed to be a graphic, vicious torture flick.
Yeah.
And so that's also why, like, whenever these 3 people would be like, oh, wow, it was so graphic, you have to tone it down if you want me involved. And I was like, you should have told me that when I first said, hey, I want you to read this graphic, vicious torture flick. By the way, it's a really graphic, vicious torture flick. Like, I never hid that aspect. I'm actually really proud of how graphic and vicious it is. So no, fuck you. I'm not toning it down. That's a hard no. So immediately, like, half the directors were off the table. And then with the other 3, where I was like, okay, we still have 3. Well, trying to deal with money and schedule was just really difficult. They either wanted more money than what we had, which is fine. Everybody should know their worth and should only take the jobs that they can afford to take, right? but then the other thing was just schedules. So it turned out that like two of them couldn't do it unless we shifted the schedules. And as soon as you start playing that schedule shifting game, you lose this actor and then you lose this actor. Well, then like, well, these two characters are siblings. So if you lose
Yeah, that was
one, then you
fucked
have
up.
to cast somebody, right? Like, and I mean, back in 2010 or 2013, also, like, usually siblings looked alike. I feel like that's no longer a thing in 2023, which also low key annoys me. Like, I like for them to be like something that goes without saying, to be like, okay, those guys are related or those aren't related. So we had two characters who were siblings, so they kind of had to be like the age range visually to like be an older and younger sibling, and then also I wanted them to look like they both realistically had the same parents or could have had the same parents, and it was crucial to the storyline. I won't give out why, but like
Yeah.
it has to be, and especially like I wanted them to look alike, because then it makes it even creepier when the movie twists and turns, right? Because you're like, man, that's her brother. That's disgusting. Anyways,
Yes.
Yes.
so we couldn't do the schedule, so we were kind of like back in the corner where like, if we shoot it, what are we going to do? And it was one of the actresses who was like, Jessica, you're telling me the shots you want, you're telling me how you want the character, just direct it yourself. Like, you're already basically doing the work. And I realized like I had a very clear cut vision in my head for what I wanted. It was just a matter of making the actual footage match what was in my mind. So that's why I ended up doing it. So
Yeah, we watched that this week as well. Yeah, I agree. That is fucked up. I won't get into why. Obviously, we don't
There's
want
many
spoilers.
reasons.
but it was really important they looked alike, right? Like they had to look like visually pass.
Right.
Yeah.
Your scene was also pretty brutal as well. I won't get into why in case people don't want to watch. But if you know what I'm talking about, you actually had a couple brutal
So,
scenes.
who came up with most of the like questions, truth or dare? Was it mostly you, or team, or the torture, or like
It
who?
was mostly the team. Like, it was mostly both John and I. We both did a pretty good job at bouncing back and forth, and then we'd kind of like one up each other. And I don't know if it'll ever happen now, because like everything is just, it's so hard to make movies and have them make a profit. Not that you do movies to make a profit, but it's hard to like get investors to invest. So we did originally design it as a trilogy, and the third one is like so much darker. The second one is super fun. It's very much like the T2 of the franchise, but like the third one gets so dark. The third one, you meet like the youngest characters in the movie. They're like a group of 15-year-old girls, spoiler alert. And they act and look like they're 20, and they turn out to be the most effed up people you've ever seen in cinematic history.
Oh wow.
Which I love, because of course 15-year-old girls are the most fucked up you've ever seen in cinematic history.
Well, have you seen that movie? Have you seen 13? That movie?
I have.
Okay, yeah. So they were pretty messed up for 13, but yeah.
They were. So yeah, so we'll see. But yeah, Truth or Dare is the first one is very tamed compared to where we go in the second and third. Like, and the second one, literally, my most horror loving friends, I don't want to give it away, but there's a couple things where they're like, you're not going to shock me with this one. And there's like a few select words I can say that people don't understand, and I just tell them to Google it. And so far, I have 100% recoil and near vomit when they Google it and look at the images. And I'm like, yes, that's exactly right. You think I can't top that? And they're like, oh my God, this is horrible. Yes, you have to do that. So we'll see. We'll see.
Terrible, just awful. I had the same thought as me. For real, have you seen the horror classic Mean Girls? Brutal. Right. I was about ready to say it, so it's basically like Mean Girls on crack. But so they have the same thoughts thing as me.
Well, I like the playing with duality, because like, here's the reality. I don't know your experiences. I could tell you about mine. I have some wonderful, beautiful friends who love horror movies, and they are overall the nicest, sweetest, kindest human beings. Yes. And there are certain people in society who look very normal, who are very quick to pass judgment based on how other people dress or what they wear. Meanwhile, they're the ones who are sitting at home and being horrible human beings, trying to claim that these horror lovers or people that dress in a certain style or wear a certain hair or dye their hair a certain color are not good people. And it's always been the polar opposite. So I love the idea of playing with that on camera. Like, the people that you think are going to be really screwed up are often the people that society deems abnormal are not often the ones that are the most screwed up in their head. And oftentimes, those of us who choose to express ourselves with a very distinct style or visual image, we're getting out a lot of the things that other people shove down in their brains. And I actually find that they're often more mentally stable and more mentally healthy and are genuinely the best quality human beings. Some of the kindest people I've met through the horror genre. Some of the smartest people, some of the most amazing, spectacular people. And I think that there are certain elements in society, certain people in society that would try to make the argument that that's not the case based off the fact that they were Black, which is just freaking dumb. Be better.
I've had people like before when I was like trying to date or whatever, and people learn. I'd always put like in my in my profiles like horror movies. And it's like, oh, we're fine with that, and then they realize that I wasn't lying about it. I actually like horror movies, and then there's like, oh no, it can't have nothing to do with you, and I've been called morbid and all sorts of stuff.
I'm not kidding you. So once upon a time, this is many years ago, I was having like I don't know, I had dated a guy a couple times and he was coming over to watch movies and I let him pick out the movies and it was very much a test. And when I realized he had selected like 3 rom-coms, I sent him away. I was like, this is not going to work. Like, it's just not.
Right.
It's offensive. Like, you shouldn't be in my home. You should know me better than that. Like, no, thank you.
Horror fans are the best in the world, but you also don't want to mess with us.
No, right? Like, we know how to. I'm not saying we will hide the body, but we know how to get rid of it if we need to.
He always says that I am going to kill him and hide his body where nobody will find it, and nobody will know what happened, or make it look like he did it or something.
You know ways to kill me and make it look like I did it myself and I buried myself.
I don't know if you heard him or not. Yeah.
I did. I'm glad that we're all on the same page.
Yes, exactly.
But also, it's not like, I don't know if you're like noticing, but like so many people, like when you look at the news, it's all the normal looking people that seem to be the batshit crazy ones.
Exactly.
Or like, heaven forbid, like if you look like me, you are blonde haired, fair skinned, you're wearing a pastel color, anything, and you are a school teacher, you are the worst person just all the time. If you're in the news, you've done something horrendous. So bad. Oh, I wonder if you talk about your experience on Human Zoo. Oh,
yeah, a bunch of us have reviewed that in the community. So
you have. Would you like to know anything specific? I really enjoyed that. It was a lot of improv. It was really fun to create the character because again, that was the one that you weren't giving characters to audition for. You came, like the director basically had the context. So he knew that like, hey, it was going to be X amount of contestants. And then he was going to get you formatted. And he just told us like, all the contestants think that they're winning this much money. You all need to win money. Everything else is up to your interpretation. So it was all like improv. And obviously we knew that things go horribly awry because it's a scary movie. So, you can't just be like, somebody's not walking away with that $2 million. I'm sorry. Spoiler alert.
It's no happy ending.
No, definitely not.
So when you read a script, what do you choose? Like what most attracts you towards a certain script?
So I usually read the first time without any motivation to do anything other than to see how good the script is. So in general, I'm doing a quick pass to see, is it engaging? Is it fun? Do I care? Right. And then also like, is it repetitive? So is it something that's already been done before? Don't get me wrong. I think that I endlessly want to see new Cannibal in the Woods movies, but it's very important that it's not just regurgitated what has already been previously iconically done. I think that there's new things that we can do and new things that we should be doing, and we need to fight to tell new versions of classic stories that we love, not just regurgitate the same. So then if it passes that level where, okay, I'm interested, it was a good script, I was able to, stay entertained, then it comes down to, did I like the character that they want me for? Is the character something that's unique and different? And not so much like, do I like the character in terms of would I be friends with this person or is this person like me? I don't care about any of that. It's just, is the character well-rounded, well thought out? And that can be either good or bad, right? So I sometimes have the most fun playing characters that I don't have any relation to, that I feel so disconnected with, because it allows me to really do a deep dive on like the inner workings of their psyche. I'm not a bad person. I don't do typically horrible things. So getting to play a horrible person does really put you in a very different headspace, because you have to not judge that person's action. Like, I, as Jessica, can't judge the character's actions. I have to put myself in those shoes and find out why that character made those choices, if that makes sense. So that's when the next passes, and then it usually just comes down to the details as far as what are the number of days, do I think it's going to be good. At this point in my career, I'm pretty selective about who I want to work with, because I think there's just some, we've survived the Me Too movement. There's a lot of really shitty people who make movies, unfortunately. I think there's shitty people in every industry, but the benefit in the movie industry is if you know that somebody has tried to rape your friend, you can just be like, screw you, I'm never working with you. So there's certain people that I actively avoid because I just don't want anything to do with them. And at this point, there's no movie worth working with a crappy person, promoting them and possibly helping to elevate them or their career to give them a position of power to hurt more people. So after the script, I come down to, are they people I want to work with? And I also think, in contrast, there's some wonderful, amazing human beings. We were just talking about The Human Zoo, and John is a spectacular human. He's just a great person. He's a talented director. He's a great visionary, and he's a wonderful person. So there's also so many wonderful people like that who want to tell stories and make movies. So I really want to focus on trying to work with them, helping to rise the cream of the cream to the top, because I think that good people need all the help that they can get.
Hobbs also asks, I also watched the review, The Tombs, as well. Any thoughts on working on that set? Any caves or anything like that you had to work in?
So that's one of my favorite experiences. You can tell that IMDb is not up to date because that's not on it. So that project, true story, and also, hey guys, hi Queen Bee, how you doing? So The Tombs was shot in London. So obviously I love being able to travel, and it was shot in the London Tower Bridge. We're the only movie to ever shoot there as far as I know, and it was just such a wonderful set. The actual team involved in that one is spectacular, just so good, so genuinely knowledgeable, so wonderful. And shooting in London, England is just, they have such a good fine-tuned machine, and they all know each other, and I was the only outsider. So I had met, I don't think I met Dan Brownline is the director. Brownlie rather is the director. I had known one of the actual producers on it, and he had met me at Fright Fest, which I had been at for promoting some of my other movies. I love London, and their horror crowd is amazing there. So I got a Facebook message on like Wednesday, the Wednesday before Thanksgiving weekend. And it was just like, what are you doing next week? And I was like, why? What's going on? And he was like, are you interested in this project? And I was like, okay. And all I knew, very little. He was like, I'm sending you the script. It's an urgent casting. And again, I know he's in London, so I'm assuming it's shooting in London. I don't know. This is Wednesday. It's Wednesday of Thanksgiving week, right? So the Thursday or Friday is typically off in American world. So it was an American talk show host. She's the only one who's supposed to be American. And they had another actor involved who I'm not going to mention by name here because I don't want to promote or insult her. But she was involved early on in the process and then just stopped responding to emails for like no reason. I really think she probably just got bogged down, or I think some people sometimes think, oh, well, that movie won't happen. It's an independent shoot, whatever. So she just stopped responding. And sure enough, they're like, well, we have to go to camera. You're not responding. We have to book this flight and get this person here. So they sent me the script. The script was really good, really clever. I thought it was really unique. It was shot all in the London Tower Bridge, which is spectacular because it's a tourist attraction normally. And by fluke, and this is like the good part of the business, right? My character shot, I think, 7 days over 19 or 20 days. So that means I get to be in London that entire time. And when I'm not needed on set, I can just do whatever I want. So I basically had a paid vacation in London. They treated me wonderfully. The script was super, super fun. My character was not a nice human being. She's kind of a bit of a bitch, which I actually really liked because I thought it was very true to exactly how I would see the character. Like a very self-centered, obnoxious person. I'm spoiler alert. You kind of can't wait to see her die because you're like, oh man, forget it. This is gonna suck. Like it's gonna suck for you, but we're gonna cheer you on as you die. But it was a really fun original story, and I love the fact that Dan and his team went out of their way to get such a brilliant location. I think the location is basically a character itself in this movie, and it was just so well done. And they did such a great job with getting it done, finished, and out, and it was just such a wonderful experience. And also shout out to Jessica Brownlie, who is the director's wife, but she was just such a wonderful, beautiful soul, and she's like one of the leads of the movie. And I got to meet some other really, really talented actors on that movie as well. So it was a really, 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 really wonderful experience.
Yeah, we had Aviana, I hopefully pronounced her name right, Snow, on here. So we've talked about that movie as before, but we all love that movie.
Yeah, it was fun. So, and again, like I almost didn't, like it literally came down to, so it was the holiday weekend. So I read the script on the Wednesday, sent it to my team. Then they were able to, we all approved it. They booked my flight that day and I flew out I think it's 3 days later. And then I was on set and they were like, well, we're just altering the costume to fit you because it was designed for someone else. I'm like, okay.
Hobbs also says, last one I promised, and it's okay if you got more.
Yeah.
I also watched and reviewed All Through the House. I actually got to watch that one this week as well. This year, any thoughts or fun things you did with that motion picture?
Oh, yes. I love that one. I have a very small role in that one, but it's just super fun. So Todd Nunez is just a sweetheart of a human being, and it's him and his sister who star in the movie, and they're just wonderful people. And originally, fun facts, my character died with a throat slash, I believe. And I was kind of bored. Some years, so I do before COVID, I did 9 to 15 movies a year. And now it's kind of a much different world. But before COVID, it was a lot. And so this was one of those years when we were shooting All Through the House that, well, you know what? I'd already had my throat slashed a bunch of times that year. And I just was thinking maybe we could do something more original. They had a brilliant effects team on that movie, really, really talented. And I'd worked with them before, so I was very comfortable. And I was like, hey, Todd, what do you think? Let's do this. So we talked about options and we came up with, spoiler alert, a better death scene. But it was really, really, and he was like, are you okay with that? I was like, yeah, totally fine. It's totally fine. By the way, I die in the shower. But it was really, really good. It was really, really effective. And it was really fun to be like, hey, I've never died. We do this. And he was like, if you wanted, sure. Yeah. And I was like, yeah. Let's do this. It'd be more fun.
Yeah, I kind of was, when I saw that, I was kind of wondering if it was kind of almost a thing to Psycho.
Right.
It's not quite that way, but still.
It's not quite Psycho. It's not quite Psycho. And there's also a little bit the placement was a little bit of 13 Ghost-ish. It was meant to be cringy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
To be oh my gosh, this is gonna be intense.
Yeah, now you mentioned that. Yeah, man. That is true.
Right? Which also, if you haven't rewatched 13 Ghosts, I think it holds up. I still think it's a super, super fun film. For the record, super, super fun.
And I kind of like to see stories or show of each ghost, how they became.
So they have those on YouTube.
Oh, okay.
They had some behind the scenes. I don't know if they were originally made for DVDs, but they go into more depth about each of the ghosts in that film.
Oh, cool. I did not know those exist.
Mm-hmm.
I'll have to check that out, yeah.
But he was also in another Christmas movie, which is one of my favorite ones, Silent Night.
Yeah.
Stephen C. Miller, the gift to independent film everywhere. Love that human being.
I love Blowtorch Santa. That's what I call it.
Right? Isn't he so good? And spoiler alert, this is all spoilers, but I mean, I feel
I'm sure most people have seen them if they're here, you know.
Right? But also, shout out to Courtney Palm, who I think has one of my favorite death scenes of all time in that movie. She's phenomenal in it. Her death is just great. So good. so effective, so terrifying. No, that was a super, super fun movie. And ironic. So it's so funny. Like in hindsight, I probably made the wrong call. So like I knew the producer and Stephen C. Miller, and it was down to like there's two roles and like either one, which one do you want to do more? And I wanted to do the horror fan. Me wanted to do the one that tied back to the original. So I'm like the nurse in that scene that references the original film, which obviously I grew up watching as a child, and it was very important to me. The other scene I would have had a scene with Malcolm McDowell, so probably as an actor that would have been more helpful for like my reel and marketing. But I was like, screw that, horror nerd is more important. Let me be in the scene that references the original. But it was fun, and it shot up in Canada, and it was the only time like we shot it in Canada in Winnipeg, and it was like the first Christmas in like I think 15 years or something like that didn't have snow, and we were shooting a Christmas movie. And Canada, it like snows in like July for no reason. So of course you're like it's like the movie Luck, right? Like you go to make a Christmas movie set at Christmas time that requires snow. That's the one year they're like, we're not going to snow this year. It's just snow.
It sounds about right.
Yeah, it was a 1 year. But no, Stephen C. Miller and his team, phenomenal. Love them so much. It was such a great time. I hope to work with him again sometime. I do love just as Stephen C. Miller, he does mostly action now, but definitely check out, like, if you haven't seen some of his earlier work, he's wonderful.
I want to talk a little bit about Songs of Solomon, where you were a demon in that one. What are your thoughts on supernatural things like that? What's your belief on anything supernatural, whether it be ghosts, demons, or whatever?
Oh, I totally think it all exists. Completely all exists. Yeah, which is tricky because like in Song of Solomon, we were reading and singing texts that historically you're not supposed to, because you can technically like open up doorways or conjure certain things. And there's some people like so the song in Song of Solomon is real. The actual Song of Solomon that is sung, you cannot find the actual musical notes to accompany it because it will unleash something so bad, so terrifying that they've never been published. And I like deep dive everything. There's very few things that I or somebody I know cannot find on the internet. I could not find the actual music to the Song of Solomon. And I think it's within good, and like it's probably that and, well, spoiler alert, the Kurt Cobain death photos are the only two things I've ever not been able to find on the internet that I've looked for. So safe to say, I think that it's not there for a very good reason. But it still didn't stop me from singing it. I just had to make up my own melody. And I was like, well, hopefully this doesn't kill me. Fingers crossed. Hopefully we don't unleash. But I will tell you, so we did that movie, and then like 2 or 3 weeks after, we had what's it called? Level 5 emergency flooding. Like it was horrible. Everything got destroyed in the entire area. The home that we shot in had 5.5 feet of water. So everything got destroyed very shortly after that movie. Like we had originally intended to go back to do some pickup shots, and nothing could happen because everything was gone.
Like I was gonna say, cursed set after
right?
that.
It was a lot. So no, I fully believe in all of that. Totally believe in like demons, heaven, hell. I think you try to do your best to be a good person, and hopefully it doesn't come back to bite you in the ass. But yeah, totally believe in all of that. So that was a lot. It was a lot to take, but it was still right to do it for the role. Some people are like, but you believe in that, why would you do that? Well, because I believe personally in telling those stories. I still believe that they should be told. I think that we told it in a very respectful way. And I just personally, I loved that script. I think that Byro is a brilliant mind and a brilliant writer. And I'm so honored I got to actually be involved. Fun fact though, like he didn't want to cast me because I don't look like the character, as you guys know, like I don't. And I was like, I will dye my hair. And he's like, yeah, but like, you know, I'm a girly girl. I love lashes. I love lipstick, all that stuff in real life. And he's like, your character's not basic. He was using other words, but basically your character is not a girly girl. Like, and I was like, that's okay. Like Jessica's this way. My characters can be however they want. Like, I just want to tell the story. So like when I auditioned, I had other contacts in that I had, and I told him, I was like, I will dye my hair. I won't wear makeup. Like none of it matters. Don't care. I just really want to tell the story. So it worked out really, 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 really well. And that one is like in my top 10 films. That might even be number one because it's such an important movie to me. I feel like I made a lifelong friend with Byro on that film set. And then also my dog, if you follow me on social, who's like by my feet, Solomon, he was rescued from that set.
Oh wow.
So he was abandoned and living on the set next door. And we became best friends while filming that movie. And Byro graciously let me borrow a set car on the days that I wasn't filming to like go to all the shelters and the veterinarian clinics to see if I could find this little dog who was so sweet's home. And everyone was like, no, he's probably just been abandoned. We have a major problem with that here in Crystal River, Florida. Take him and give him a home. But I was like, I can't have a dog. My life isn't a dog conducive. But that being said, I ended up obviously taking him in, and he's been my most favorite little man ever since. So he completely changed my life. And obviously his name's Solomon from Song of Solomon. But it's so funny because like the guys on set, they're like, but what are you going to name it? I'm like, duh. We're making a Song of Solomon movie. His name has to be Solomon.
Exactly.
And it's so funny. So like he would be outside. And then whenever we'd be done filming, we'd go outside and he would just jump on my lap, even though it was like all exorcismed out. And if you guys haven't seen Song of Solomon, it's like a ton of makeup. My entire body is covered in really, really effective, really good makeup. And this little dog just didn't care. He was like, nope, it's fine. You're my person. I'm just going to sit on your lap and lick your scary looking face.
Eat the props, nibble on them, whatever,
Did you have any unexplained experiences?
You know what? On Song of Solomon, no, until after. It was really like the after, like when like the level, like the emergency flooding, and it was considered a medical emergency. I thought I had it at the beginning, like day number 1, I was trying to work out and be healthy, and I was going for a jog, and we're in the middle of like swampland, Florida, and a giant bug that I thought I discovered jumped down in front of me, and I didn't want to step on it. So I ended up twisting my ankle and scraping my leg because I bit it really hard on the ground, on the pavement. And then I came back and I was like, oh my God, you guys, you won't believe what I found. It was like a shiny black grasshopper, like this big. And they're all just like, that's a locust. And I was like, what? And they're like, that's a locust. We have them all over the place. I was like, hold on. You mean like you all know that these exist and you choose to live here? Like, I thought I discovered this. I thought I was like, I came across a new species. And I was like, side note, also, locust is in like the things in the Bible signifying the ends of time. Like, I'm pretty sure we don't just see a locust and you're like, oh, that's a locust. Like, it's more like, locust! Like, y'all are really calm for like something that the Bible very clearly says warns you to get the fuck out. We're not like, oh, there's a locust. Let's just like sit down. Like, no. So
well, it is Florida. So
I thought it was. I really thought I discovered this. And there was like creepy sounds of like jungle sounds, and it was just that's just what Florida sounds like. Florida sounds like it's a wild place. It's scary.
All the cicadas and stuff, yeah.
Horrendous, and like it sounds like there's like ducks like everywhere, and they're just like little bullfrogs, but they have this like really, it's ridiculous. Florida's a very interesting place. It's very different. I have traveled the world. Nothing is like Florida other than Florida.
right.
So true.
But no other supernatural, honestly. It was only until after, and there were some other things like we had one of our people that had medical conditions. One of our people involved in the set had some random medical stuff. I blessedly did not have any of those. So luckily, no. But like if it would have happened on any of them, it would have been that one because it's Fire of Unearthed Films, and that's just how that would have went down.
A lot of exorcist or different demon movies and stuff. I think the first time, like during a possession where the possessed actually threw up their insides, that was intense. And then put them back in, I'm like, wow.
Wasn't that great?
How was that scene for you?
Oh, that was so good. So like it was really gross, and you just have to accept. I think the hardest part is if you try to fight it. So like and Byro can attest to this, and he laughed at one point and took a picture of it. So like on my script on like those days I had do not eat because I knew I was going to vomit during the process. But I was like, if I have to like put it back in my mouth with food that I vomited up, that's going to be even worse.
Oh yeah.
Like, let it just be like the liquid, you know what I mean? Like that I vomited, whatever. So I knew already, I was like, okay, so that day I'm not eating until after, if at all. And then the other thing that I just made sure that the DP and Biro, which they were so gracious and kind to support me kind of taking over this scene. I was like, here's what I just want to do. I just want you to let me do it. No notes. Do not call cut. Do not call cut because you want it. I can handle this. I can do this. The one thing I don't want to do is have you stop me when I'm like going for it and have to restart. Like the stop and start is going to be what kills like my momentum in this. I just need to suck it up. It's going to suck. If I'm doing it right, you're going to think you need to call cut for my own sanity. Don't. Like, I will stop if I need to stop, but let me just do it. Just let me get through it. And we'll just do it as often as you need. But like, I don't. So like, because in film, a lot of the time they'll be like, cut. Because like, maybe you're not doing something exactly. But I was like, just let me get through it. It's going to suck. It's going to be bad. We're just going to do it. We're just going to do it. So, but yeah, it was not my most fun. Well, I'll tell you what, it was nowhere near as bad because it was intestines and stuff. It wasn't because we weren't adding, I had like all this blood and stuff, but there wasn't anything to it. I've done other vomit scenes for other movies, and there was like one that I had to vomit a dead rat, right? And it was a fake rat, obviously, but they wanted it coated in like green chunky vomit, so they made, and I can't eat bananas to this day because they mashed up basically like various food colorings, various like oatmeal and things into banana, and then I had to put this like giant rat in my mouth, and the one time we put it down with the tail down, so like the tail went through my throat, so it's really disgusting, and like that was like a much worse experience because there's like the chunky of the food and like the banana. It was just really, really, that was much worse. Much worse. And to like Song of Solomon's crew credit, like I think we did it twice. We didn't need to do it that often. It was good. Could have been worse.
True.
Oh, let me double click that. My mom was saying that the mosquitoes in the Everglades are so big they tried to carry her away when she was running to the car.
Yeah, no, they're ridiculous. And people who live there, I think it's normal. And I'm like, this is not normal. I was like, I've traveled the world. Grasshoppers are small. They're not like giant.
We used to shoot them with a BB gun. The big ones like that, the yellow black, they're like about, I don't know if you can tell here, but they're like almost as long as like the thumb.
Okay. Let me just explain something to you. It's very important. If you can hit an insect with a BB gun pellet, you need to move. No.
I agree.
There's so many places in the world where that is not the case. No.
Well, at least they didn't have to get the shotgun out. To be worried.
That is the next step. What, you're just pissing them off with the BB gun? They're just going to figure out how to get bigger and stronger.
You seen the movie? I'm sorry, what was that? I didn't mean to cut you off.
You're just making it a challenge for them.
Yeah. Have you seen Mosquito? That movie Mosquito, where they Huh? I
have not yet.
That's a good one. Yeah, they run into it with the car. They don't know what they hit, and they had the proboscis. It was like almost 3 feet long when their car penetrated where the proboscis, where they sucked the blood out. It was like penetrated into the car. That's how big they were in the movie. I can't remember. I think Gunnar Hansen was even in that movie too.
And it was probably shot in Florida, and it's a true story.
Yep, it was a documentary.
Yep, this is live.
I agree with that. But the one time I've been to Florida, we went and I forget, what is it, Disneyland or Disney World that's there?
Disney World.
Disney World.
Yes.
We went there. I was like 14. My brother's 2. And our car breaks down before we get to the hotel. And my dad wanted to walk through this like wooded area to do a shortcut. And we're like, no, we're not doing that. Seeing one of those frogs jump in the highway and get splatted. We're like, no, we had to walk, I think it was almost 2 miles, I believe, to the hotel. And he's wanting to cut through woods. Like, no. So we ain't from Florida. There's monsters in those woods, literally. Then I found out talking to somebody else, there was probably actually gators right next to us, and we never knew.
Oh yeah, there is. There's alligators there. Yep.
Oh yeah. There's again everything in Florida is kind of like Australia. Everything can kill you.
That's fun. It's amazing I've made it this far and survived.
You grew up, so you're used to it. And get somebody like me that's only been there once. I grew up in the Midwest, so we don't have that much to kill us. I think cows are about the most deadly.
Right? You have like the occasional tornado, which they're really
Right.
nice tornadoes. So they tell you when they're coming. They literally stay the course they're supposed to be on, and you just like stay out of their way and they leave you alone.
Yeah, we've actually had several episodes where I had to shut down everything and go to the basement and take my laptop down there and finish streaming with the tornado going. Of course, we didn't. It was nowhere near us, but still, I've had to. There's been at least 2, maybe 3 episodes that I've had to go to the basement due to
I think
tornado.
so. Yeah, I don't remember who they were with, but yeah.
Yeah, I don't either. It's happened so many times, but yeah, there's been at least 2, maybe 3 episodes that I had to cut everything off and go to the basement because of a tornado.
See, and that's like the big. I love the Midwest. I some of the nicest people I've ever met have been in the Midwest, and it's one of my favorite things to go back and film in the Midwest and to do horror conventions because I do think you get a very pure set of human beings.
Yeah.
Like they're just really, 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 really nice. So,
Yeah,
but tornado aside.
Yeah, that's true.
They used to have at Universal, they shut it down, but they had the Twister ride when Twister the movie was out. It was pretty cool. They had the Twister show. You watched it, and that was a good time. They closed all the good ones back.
But I've heard good things about it, which bummed me out because I loved Twister the movie as a kid. I thought it was super fun. I honestly, growing up in Canada, I thought that tornadoes were a lot more common. But in where I grew up, we had Tornado Alley, which I'm not kidding you, is a alley. The only area in my hometown that would ever have tornadoes is in Tornado Alley. And some of these people, they would just like rebuild the home every year.
Mm-hmm.
Why?
It's called Tornado Alley. Why do you want to live there?
Oh,
Right.
one. I was like, you've got to be playing me. He had a plane, a little 2-seater plane. I was like, why the F do you have a plane on your yard? You know what it is. You know you live in Tornado Alley. Don't put a plane there. Literally.
Well, yeah, I use it to take off whenever the tornado comes. I race it and then I fly above it.
You
Right.
dumb. You dumb. You don't do that. No.
Yeah.
Nothing that can't be locked down. Also, like, live anywhere else.
Right.
Anywhere.
My hometown was kind of in a valley, so my hometown would never get hit. So nobody would ever, like basically prepare for a tornado. We'd all go outside and like look at the sky, basically. Typical Midwest.
Yeah.
So, but one year we had one in November, and it was like the town next to us. It was probably a couple towns away. Completely flattened the whole town. It just took it out. I know they're back and going now, but it was horrible. It was just, you see this whole house is just leveled.
So Tornado Alley, that's like every other year.
Yeah, there's like a tornado alley through the Midwest that's I think every year.
Yeah. So I'm like, I don't know what. I'm like, okay, fine. But like also like the guy with the plane, you're asking for it. I hope insurance doesn't cover it because at some point they have to be like, this is on you. Like you knew how this was going to go.
Yeah, I wonder what their insurance rate is there. I mean, you're living in Tornado Alley, so
Right? And it's like nowhere else in my hometown would have tornadoes, just Tornado Alley.
crazy. I also wanted to talk about Red Eye a little bit. Destine and Tristan did that, and I've met them years back at conventions, so I sort of know them. I haven't kept in touch in a while. But how'd you meet up with them? Did they meet you at a convention, or how'd you get hooked up with Red Eye?
Well, you should definitely speak to them more because I know that they are hard at work and they are just some of the sweetest, kindest, most wonderful human beings I've ever met. I did meet them at a horror convention. I think I met them at Horror Hound. I'm not 100%. I'm pretty sure it was Horror Hound in Ohio, which is, in my humble opinion, one of the best horror conventions in the world.
I've been to a couple of them, yeah. So.
They're amazing. They organize just like super, super great. I think you can also I think what sets Horror Hound apart from the other ones is like the people in charge of it do it because they love it, not because they're out to make money. In fact, like my one friend who is, I think he's the owner, he might even be the runner, but he has a really good job. It's just in him to like share his love of genre with the world, and it's really pure because of that. You know what I mean? Like they don't try to gouge fans. They're just trying to give you guys a amazing experience to help the genre, which I think is really great. So I think it was that one. In all honesty, I'm pretty sure. And they were like, "We have this movie. Do you want to do it?" And ironically, I actually shot it. Like I literally went from my house to Red Eye, then to Song of Solomon. Like I didn't even go home in between because it was such a tight shoot schedule. And it was just really, really fun to see these kids. They're really young if you guys don't know them, but keep an eye on them.
Actually, we should try to invite them on the show and talk to them. So it'd be good to get in touch with them again.
They're so good, and I know they have another movie in post production, and I would love to work with them again sometime. Like the Red Eye also is a great example of what you can do when you love it. So they managed to get this film shot, edited, and distributed inside of 2 years, which as someone who's been involved in films, that's freaking hard. The fact that they did it, whether you like the movie or not, that's impressive. Period. You know, they did it, they promote it, they live it, they love it, and they work their butts off. And I think that they don't get enough credit. They're wonderful human beings. So it was an absolute pleasure to be on that film set.
Yeah,
such a pleasure.
I believe the next movie is the I did do the Indiegogo with that Inverted or whatever is the one that they worked on. So I'm looking forward. That sounds like a good one. So with the
right,
cult,
I love a good cult movie.
Yes.
But speaking of Horror Hound, many years ago, I actually met you at Indiana Horror Hound, and I think he was getting people to go to a screening because I think it was like my second con or like that, so I didn't realize like who all the people were and whatnot. But it was because Daniel Harris was there, and they had some sort of Night of the Living Dead. It was a cartoon version. But you was gathering people to go watch the screening, and you talked to us. And I don't remember what our conversation was, but you ended up following me on Twitter after that.
Oh, yay! I need to get back on Twitter. I got locked out of Twitter maybe like a month and a half ago when I got a new phone. I need to get back on it. Life is too short to not be on Twitter. I miss Twitter. No, that was super fun, right? It was just so I just knew those people. They're just my friends. And they're like, "What are you doing? Do you want to go to like Horror Hound?" I was like, "Do I want to go to my favorite place to talk about some of my favorite things?" Sure. So yeah, I actually wasn't even involved in the movie. It was just I'm friends with the guy who was making it, and I was like, let me promote this because again, I think also any day. I don't think it was called Night of the Animated Dead.
Yeah, I don't remember what it was called. I've tried talking about it before because I can't remember, and I've tried looking it up and I can't figure it out. But
Todd and Daniel Harris and some other really great people. But yeah, it was I was like, yeah, if I'm not doing anything, any weekend, like I'd rather be at a horror convention and specifically Horror Hound than any day off doing anything else. Like, like it was so fun. And it's such a good vibe. And also I really like the Indiana Horror Hound is always a good time.
Yeah, that's the one and only time I ever went there because usually we went to the Chicago ones because it was slightly bit closer. But I've only been to a handful of them. But we went to the Indiana one that one time and we got to see the screening there because you wrangled us in.
I did. I'm good like that. And I hopefully I gave you a free poster. If you didn't, I'm sorry. I don't have them.
It's been so long ago. I don't remember, but probably.
But I try. Well, I think we have to do what we can to like spread the love of the genre whenever we can. So that was just a great example of that where, again, not my movie. I just love
I don't even think we knew that there was screenings going around. We was just going around, going seeing the people we went to see. And
a lot of people don't at the horror conventions. And to be fair, not all horror conventions do screenings. Right. And not all horror conventions do good screenings. But I think it's great too also because like as somebody who I like to do all the things and I like to drink all the drinks and eat all the food. So sometimes I also like to sit down while I'm eating all the things and drinking all the drinks.
Yeah.
So might as well be sitting down with a horror movie playing. Yes, please.
Yes.
Even better.
My happy place.
Food, drinks, and horror. Come on. You can't beat it.
What else is there? Dogs. That's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, my cat's pestering me right now, so I'm kind of leaning like that.
So any conventions that you got planned coming up or not as of right now?
I don't as of right now. So I honestly haven't got back into the convention game, and I should because I do really love it. I did stop during COVID. not for political things. Honestly, like my biggest thing, because I'm healthy and young, so I was never super fearful for me, but I was like, I don't want to be at a convention where a icon gets sick and dies. Like,
Right.
I just don't want to be a part of it. I feel all kinds of ways. And also like there was also like a part of me where I was just like scared. I was like, oh God, what happens if one of our horror icons is at a horror convention, gets COVID and dies? Like, that's gonna suck.
Right.
That's gonna suck for all the fans. So I just haven't got back to it, but I need to figure it out because, quite frankly, I would love to. I think the horror conventions, before COVID, I tried. The goal was always 4 to 6 a year.
Mm-hmm.
Usually one international, if not two. Just schedule is always tricky with internationals because you typically have to fly in and out the day before and the day after. So it adds a larger lead time because if there's an issue on an international flight, you want to make sure that you can still get there to show up. So it's a little bit easier when it's on American soil because you can just kind of, hop on a plane that morning and you're there that afternoon. Not a big deal. But I want to. So if you have a horror convention that you want me at, let me know.
Spookalla in June would be nice if you want to come to Florida.
Where's Spookalla? Where is that one? I've never been there.
It'll be their third one. I've worked all of them. It's in Ocala.
Okay.
That's why they call it Spookalla. And they actually filmed Jeepers Creepers there too. So
see, I love that. Let me know if they're interested. I'm happy to be there. I would love that.
I shall message.
Go armed with a BB gun in case you hit the giant locust.
Well, ironically, I'm also like, I'm going to Florida to go to Disney World just as like a trip in like 40 days. I think the countdown's on. So I'm already prepared for the giant bugs.
Bring your BB gun.
That's where I should be then.
I was saying, bring your BB gun.
Girl. Yeah. No, I'm just going to hang out with you and you're going to have your BB gun. And that's how this works.
I'll be your guard. I'll take care of the bugs and spiders.
You'll be the guard. I'll protect the vodka. It's going to be fine.
I got some fireball and some, so I'll hook up this.
Did you see they made that like fake fireball? Has anyone seen that drama?
No.
There's like a fake fireball that was like not fake. It's just like made with malt liquor. So it's not like a real fireball. And I think there's a lawsuit or something pending because people bought it and then realized it was low alcohol content. I digress. But anyway.
I think I heard something about that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I was like, that is tricky. No, don't start playing around with our liquors. That's not fair.
I know. We need that. Come on. Especially at conventions.
We do. That's like the super fun part. If we do screenings also, we have 2 movies that don't have distribution yet that we want to screen places. So there you go.
Yeah.
Awesome.
What else is there's a joke because when I was at Spookalla, every time we say Spookalla, me and another podcaster were like taking a drink off the side of the screen when we were there. And I had
makes no sense. You're talking about the con.
Yeah.
In the name of the con, but you had to drink it. I don't know. I don't get
because
it.
we said Spookalla's. It was a drinking game. Like basically every time Spookalla was said or typed, that's what we drank. So we're like, oh, we're talking about Spookalla again.
I mean, that makes complete sense to me. Yeah. It's not about staying sober. It's about justify getting drunk.
Exactly. And I only drink at conventions.
Maybe because I don't drink. I don't know, but
it's not up to me. It's the rules of the game.
Exactly.
I don't know what to tell you. I invented the rules of the game, but the rules of the game clearly dictate.
Exactly. But let's see what else we mentioned. Red Eye. Let's see. Sleeper was a good one too that I watched.
I love Sleeper. I hope Justin Russell, that's the director, goes off to do more things. It's been some time. So sometimes people go a different direction in their life, and that's always, you hope the best for them. But I'm not going to lie, the horror girl in me really hopes he comes back to the genre because I just feel like he was such a really talented artist.
Do you have any favorite death scene in anything that you've done?
Favorite death scene? That's a good, honestly, like, so full disclosure, it has to be Solomon. Like, it kind of has to be. Because like the whole movie is like one long death scene in a way, you know, yeah. Right? Like, but also with like Song of Solomon, all of my body was cast, multiple angles. We had a movable bed, and the parts were shifting so that like one of my legs would go down, but then the other 2 arms and the legs are really me, but then the one's a fake leg. and then like all the pieces get broken. So that has to be probably, I think the character dying in that is pretty phenomenal and so well executed in just of all the movies. But the fact that it was me is also such a fun one. So that would probably be it.
And in any future movies, is there any way you would like to see yourself get killed?
You know what? I just want more original stuff. I feel like it's 2023. Let's get really creative with the kills, guys. So
Yeah.
I would love to. You know what I haven't done? I really, obviously, I'm surrounded by creepy dolls. I haven't done a creepy doll movie. So I would love a creepy doll movie. And I would love to, like, I think we need more creative ways. I think that there's no reason to just do basic boring deaths anymore. I saw The Craving, as mentioned, which is a fun independent film. They did really good with the death scenes, and I think that they did such a wonderful job, and it was such like that 80s tone, like over the top, but it worked so well. So I'm hoping we see more of that. I personally would like to be involved with more of that, because I think that that's like the direction. Let's do it really well. And I'm such a horror nerd for practical effects. Like I love the practical effect world, like less CGI. So long as it's practical, that's what I want to see personally.
Oh yeah, those always not as those are usually so much better looking.
Yeah,
than CGI.
I agree so much.
Do you have speaking of practical? Is there any like practical effects that you actually had to wear that you would say maybe be one of your favorites?
You know what? Like, so In Utero, when it comes out, which I don't know when it is going to, but fingers crossed sometime soon. I am pregnant in that movie because remember I'm pregnant with a spider baby. Right. And it was such a really good effect. So all of that was amazing. All of that was really, 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 really great. So that's one of my favorite practical effects. Don't get me wrong, it was a pain in the butt every day. But it was super fun to do every day also. It was like a full body, like a fixed, everything was attached. Yeah. You get really intimate up close and personal when you're like, hey guys.
The spider bursting out. I can picture it already. It's going to be awesome.
Dude, I also learned very, very good rule of thumb. I up at the now, like if you see my rider, like a rider is basically a list of things that the actor needs or requirements. So like in every contract or rider that I have, it does say that I get final approval of any vagina shots. Not because I ever show my vagina in horror movies, I don't. But like in Utero, the birthing scene, they made a fake vagina and it's not pretty. And I was not cast. I was not consulted. So when I saw it, I was like, that is bullshit. And like, like there's going to be some people that don't realize it's a fake vagina. And I was like, that is not representative of what I feel like the character's vagina look like. And there's going to be people who think that that's actually mine, and it's going to be. Anyways, so now there's a line because I get
Can we get another better cast of one, please?
I was like, nope, doesn't meet my aesthetic approval. Next.
It could be the sequel to Teeth.
Right? But fun fact, so that's not my vagina in Utero, in case you see it. It's not mine. But also, like, it's so funny because, like, they're like, well, nobody would think it's yours. They're, like, pushing a spider through it. I was like, I'm that good. No, I'm joking. Not even I would like I will vomit things up on camera, but not even I can push a spider baby out my.
That's one strong vagina, just pushing out spiders,
Right? Horrifying. It's horrifying. It's a great shot. I just wish the vagina was prettier.
Unfortunately, there are people that can't separate and don't realize a lot of stuff is fake. So I could see people thinking it's real.
Oh, I know. Just wait. When it comes out, they're going to be like, oh. But also, like, I'm going to send it to, like, all, like, the people who are always like, when do you do nudity in film? I'll be like, watch this, mofo. It's not actually me, but, like, I'll let you think it is. Just pay attention.
It's like, send me a naked picture. Okay. There you go.
Right?
Yeah. That would be perfect for
the next time somebody says send nudes, done.
If you do that, just clip that part out and send it to all your friends that are dating. So they have ammo.
I love that idea. We should definitely do that. That's great.
was like, it's fake. Come on, just like Sleepaway Camp, when she has a penis, it's not real. It's just the mold,
It's a
people.
little surprise.
So. Oh, good times, good times.
Right? Who knew that we would get to vagina castings? Yet here where we are.
Yeah, exactly. Well, everything, like I said here, one thing will lead to another and just random shit all along. It just pops right up.
You never know what we're gonna mention.
Any other funny or crazy stories from any set that you remember?
Oh gosh, there's so many. They're like going back to camel spiders.
Camel toe.
No,
Oh
like-
wait, never mind.
Yeah, back in the day, like by the way, everything comes full circle. We shot that in Indiana, small town in Indiana.
Okay.
The producer who shady character, but like exactly what you think would be on a Jim Wynorski movie, sure. So he had picked out there's a scene where, spoiler alert, where we're like running into a house. And they're cheap and they didn't want to rent a house. So they just found a random house in the middle of nowhere where they're like, yeah, this works. You're going to run up there and you're going to just pretend to walk in it. Okay. We'll cut it before you go in, and then we'll cut to you guys inside the building and it'll be fine. Okay. So we're setting up the shot and we're shooting there, and a man in a pickup truck with a shotgun comes out. Turns out it's his house. He didn't want us anywhere near the property. And then he decided he was just going to camp out, and because of course the guys are like, oh no, don't worry, we're not filming your property at all, not at all. I was like, okay, great. And then he drove like literally a couple feet away, parked, and just got out and sat with the shotgun. So needless to say, we didn't shoot there.
You didn't shoot there because you would have got shot. Yeah.
But then ironically, so it was like a Sunday morning. We were shooting the one 27 shoot day in like 18 hours or whatever it was. We shot in like on a Sunday in this small town. And so they literally just like drove around the corner, like, what are we going to do? And then Jim was like, that house. And they picked a house at complete random. And he goes and knocks on the door and says, can we shoot the scene where we're shooting a movie? Can we shoot a scene where the characters run in and then run out? And they were the nicest people ever. And it was like a clown car house. Like so many people kept coming out of this house. So there had to have been like 24 people in the house, and they were all perfectly nice, super lovely. And it had been raining and it was muddy. So we like tracked mud through their house, and they were the nice. They're like, don't worry about it. And like, they wouldn't accept money. Even like the only time I've ever seen Jim Wynorski offer to pay someone was like on the set, and they were like, no, we're just so excited to be involved. This is great. And I was like, guys, take the money. Can you just take the money and give it to the actors? Because like none of us have a hotel room for tonight.
Well, you can stay in the clown house, maybe.
Right? Anyways, but they were so nice. So there's so many things happen on independent film sets because like nothing goes as planned, like an ending. We shot an ending in Ohio, and the film commission wasn't calling us back. So we just picked like streets that weren't very busy and were like openly shooting, and the police would come by and be like, what are you doing? Did you talk to the film commission? And we're like, we genuinely tried. Would you like to see the phone proof? Like, we're like, they don't call us back. And we went to see them in person, and they were closed like 9 times. 9 times through normal business hours. Nobody is there. Nobody calls back. Nobody answers the phone or the email. So we're just shooting. And they were like, okay.
Doing what we can, whatever.
Well, in that one we were supposed to shoot in like, you have a really awesome I forget what they call it, but it's like basically a government training facility for like emergency response people, like in the army and in the military and in various places in Ohio. And it's really cool. So they actually have this like huge space where it's like set up so that like there's part of it that's like an underwater town meant to train people on how to like save people and get like can maneuver an underwater town. There's like a plane crash site, there's hospital. So like people know how to like handle it in these various situations. And we were actually supposed to shoot there, but when there's a government emergency, everything gets locked down. And there was a government lockdown like literally 2 days before shooting an ending. So we had to like find all new locations, and it was horrible. But you survive and you become better, or at least you hope you do in spite of it.
Nice.
We could talk all day. Every film shoot, there's like a million A million. Oh my God, ridiculous. I can't believe this happened then.
It also says on here that you filmed 3 movies while traveling in a motorhome.
I did. That was the best, worst idea ever. Like, the indie filmmaker loves that idea. Everybody who knows anything about logistics and scheduling, worst idea ever. But we did. So, and we actually had a distribution deal for Mania, my fucked up lesbian love story, which I adore. But they have shit the bed and they've done nothing with it. So now we're in the process of taking the movie back, getting it redistributed. But yeah, we filmed Mania while traveling from here, from California, all the way across the country to Ohio. And then we filmed, we shot Mania on the way back. We shot Lilith on the way there, which is, we just won in the fall. We're doing some minor tweaks to the film based on the audience response, but we won best horror feature at the Silicon Beach Film Festival. And now we're in final stages of post with that, but we did Lilith all the way there and then Mania on the way back. So it was great, but it was very, 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 very challenging trying to get everything to line up. Cause like we essentially had a minimal group of filmmakers and like sound guy and PA and obviously the director and DP and then core actors. And then we had a certain key point scheduled. So we had other actors and extra crew joining us, but it was really, really hard. And like everything that could go wrong could go wrong. So like when we were traveling back through Indiana, we got a snowstorm. Well, there's no snow in the movie. The movie takes place in the summer. So not only are the girls in like shorts and like lace shirts, like there's no fucking snow. So like we had to like shoot the inside of the scene that takes place that we were going to shoot the inside and the outside there. And then we had to pick up that shot in, Arizona. Right. But then that came a logistical challenge of, well, we were taking the one actress's car, from Ohio to Indiana where we were dropping her car off at her house. And then she was coming with us in the RV and then flying back. So that becomes very challenging now because now we have to match the car. And of course she had like a very specific, it was like a blue hatchback something or other. Well, now we can't match the freaking vehicle. So now how do we shoot the vehicle so that we don't know it doesn't match? And I'm not kidding you. The next time I went to do a horror convention in the Ohio, they gave me the exact car that we couldn't find for a rental. I was like, this is just ironic. But yeah, like so many difficult things where you're like, is this really the reality? This is ridiculous. This is absolutely absurd. So like, again, like no snow. Also, we were traveling in an RV. The RV was not prepared for snow because we picked it up in California. So don't know if you know anything about RVs, but like what happens is you can't even dump the tank in anywhere that is cold because they're all closed down for RVs. So it was a whole process. We caused some damage to the RV. Didn't get the security back. Like my one crew guy who was driving it at one point decided to hit, those like safeguards that are right by the gas pumps.
Yeah.
To warn you to not hit the gas pumps. So he decided to not only hit one, but then to like let it drag across the entire length of the RV. Normal people hit one, you like reposition the vehicle so it doesn't take out the entire side. Not this person. This person was like, I'm going to hit it and then I'm just going to keep driving so it's right up against the side.
Should have made a documentary movie of the trip of everything that happened.
We did. We actually filmed it. So it's called Kill the PA and it's going to be a docuseries, but it became a making of documentary and we had so much footage that it became a bunch of series. I don't know who will honestly pick up the series. We'll probably just release it on like YouTube or Amazon, but it's fascinating. You want to see the good, the bad, the really fucking ugly side of independent filmmaking, watch Kill the PA. It's completely honest. Like everything that can go wrong goes wrong, and we show all of it. I don't look great. Nobody looks great. We all look like we're batshit fucking crazy. And honestly, it kind of had to be in that position to begin with for any of us to think it was a good idea. But But I didn't want to release it until we got Lilith done, and then until we got Mania released. So now that we're hopefully finishing up those two, you'll see in the not so far away future. I'm really proud of what we were. The fact that we were able to get it done, I think, speaks very highly. But it's a shit show. But like everything that can go wrong. Like we're like trying to cross like the one street. There's the street's flooded. We can't cross. Well, going around means we're like 8 hours behind schedule. That sucks. Do you know what that does for a film? Ruins a day. That's a day. That's a day that's gone. A day that you can't get back. It's burned. And we show all of it. Or like the one actress who then like decides that she's going to be a dick, for lack of a better term. She's just going to be an asshole. And she doesn't want to film any more than 6 hours a day. That's her maximum, which in independent film, you shoot as long as it takes, but it's almost always at least 12 hours. 12 hours in America is industry minimum, prepared to be on set. So the fact that then you're like, yeah, I'm not going to do any more work than 6 hours is kind of bullshit. But like, you have to, what can you do? You can't recast her. She's already in some of the scenes. And you're like, we have to just make it work. We have to make it work.
Or you be creative and recast her and just have like some sort of plot thing where she
normally
turns into another person or has makeup.
But normally, yes, there's like you can get a bit creative. Not when you're traveling across the country.
True. Yeah.
Now you're like you have to coordinate. Okay, you have to hire someone, cast them, pick them up, get this psycho to an airport, get her like home, and then like the cost of like all these last minute flights add $4,000 to your budget, which in independent world you don't have.
Pick up a random hitchhiker on the road.
It would have made our lives a lot easier. I'm not even gonna lie. But yeah, no, needless to say, it was incredibly challenging. I'm so glad for the experience. I still think that the concept could have been fun with the right group of people. I was one of the people involved with hiring all of the people, and I did not choose the right people. But like hindsight's always 20/20.
Right.
You know what I mean? But yeah, so stay tuned for that. It's gonna be fun. I think you'll like it. It's like an eye-opening for anybody who's ever wondered what making a movie is like. This is gonna be your like 13 episodic crash course.
Yay.
It also says you're really big into extreme haunted houses.
I love all the extreme stuff. Yeah. I was really bummed out. We had like one of the main haunted houses in California, and he actually like ended up taking it away. I love all that stuff because I think that the ability to be scared and fearful in a relatively safe environment is exciting. But I also did go to another one like not too long ago, and it really pushed my limits because I was like the person who had the bad luck of like all the bad things. Like, right. So like normally like there's like 12 seats and only one of them is actually to the point of like the shocking, so painful that you almost pee yourself. And of course I get that chair. So like you're sitting there and it's like a 3 or 5 minute thing. And like the shocks were so bad. I was like, I am going to involuntarily wet myself. And that's just going to be what happens here. Like, and like, you're like, I know there's cameras somewhere, but like, I really can't help it. Like, didn't see this coming, but like the pain was so intense because it's an extreme and you sign a waiver. So like, you know, they're legally, and you know that it could happen. I just didn't think I would be like the one in every room. Right. Like, so in every room, like, and there was like 18 rooms. I was like the one who like got like the bad part. I was like, God damn it. No.
Did you go to that one? I forget. I know they made documentaries of it. I want to say McAfee. I don't think that's right.
It was like McAfee Manor. That was the one that originally moved out. So by the time I got my name on the list was already really, really long because they had like a multi-year wait. So the only thing about that one though, too, where I don't know if I would have been able to do it is because they did keep some people for like a couple of weeks. So while I'm down to like do like the extreme and the extreme experiences, I also have to be mindful of, well, I mean, now obviously my life is a little bit different, but like at the time as an actor who had to pay all of her own bills by herself, that I didn't have the budget to be able to be like, I could just not work for 2 weeks. This is fine because I've been held captive by a random haunted attraction. So I was like, I wonder what the wiggle room is at. And we never got to have that discussion because I was so far on the end and then they moved states. I think they're in Texas now. So
Sure. I didn't know they kept people that long.
there were some cases, yeah. So like you basically sign away your rights to have or say like have any control whatsoever. And there definitely was cases where they kept them for like a very long and extended time. So there was that, and then also with that particular one, the other thing I was a little bit concerned with is scarring, because I was like, well, I don't want my face scarred if I can help it, because again, like, what does it do for the acting jobs?
Right.
You know, which again is partially vanity, but also like I didn't want to find a new job.
Right.
You know, seemed pretty obvious to me. And there was some people with that one that had what's it called? That had permanent scarring because things happened that damaged their skin. So
Wow.
I was like, wow, okay. But yeah, no, I think all of that is super fun. Love it all. Halloween, I will say, like, if there's any, like, California is stupid expensive with taxes and real estate. But the thing that makes up for it is how they celebrate Halloween. There's so many great haunted attractions, and everything kind of comes out. And the month of October is just the best time to be in the state of California. If you guys haven't visited, highly recommend. Although you have a great one near you, Miss Boomstick. I forget the name of it, but it's like a really rich man. He's a lawyer by trade, and he bought basically a giant warehouse, and they did these large scale rooms, and it's like a haunted attraction, and like it's really, really well done. I shot a movie years ago. I forget the name of the movie that never came out, but it's super, 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 super cool, and it's in Indiana.
Oh, interesting.
It's worth me flying back there just to go see it. It's so cool.
Unfortunately, I can't handle haunted houses, not even the
Oh.
tame ones. I can't handle people jumping out at me because of like PTSD issues. So unfortunately, I can't. I tried one that was supposed to be made for children, and the kids ended up tapping out. And then me and this girlfriend I had at the time went through, and I was like holding on to her dear life. And yeah, I did not handle it well.
Well, I love that you know your limitations.
Yeah,
Yes,
I
and
did
this one's
try.
probably not for you.
I knew I couldn't handle. It doesn't even matter costume, no costume. I cannot handle people jumping out at me. And I mean, yes, my husband. Like, so I'll be sleeping, and he goes to wake me up, and I can't realize it's him at first, and I'm like freaking out, and I just unfortunately I can't handle it.
Well, I like that you know that. Yes, then don't go to this one. But there's a wonderful one in the Midwest, or at least there was before COVID. Hopefully it survived.
Yeah, I didn't know they have some close to where my hometown was. This was in Illinois. They have one called Spook Hollow. They even got Tony Todd to like make a commercial for it or something. So,
That's awesome.
dang it! I keep turning on this stupid light. There we go.
Yes. I see your shark halfway in the background. Of course.
And he never moves. I don't know why the camera's not lined up with him, but we had conferences last week, so I have an extra chair because my son had to be in on the conferences for teachers. So I just haven't moved stuff around yet.
Fair.
And we just do video once, so I don't have to walk around the school with my bad legs.
So, what other some of your favorites that viewers that you'd recommend for viewers to check out?
Well, I definitely think Song of Solomon is great. I
Yeah.
think it's wonderful. It's released by Unearthed Entertainment, so you can definitely find out more information there. And shout out to Stephen Byra, who runs Unearthed Entertainment, because I think he's the most kindest, supportive, and one of the few distributors that doesn't rip off their filmmakers. So definitely check him out and follow him. He's really great. And then obviously I'm biased, but I love Truth or Dare. It's super near and dear to my heart. It's Jessica Cameron's Truth or Dare. I know there's like 85 films with that title. Mine is a super graphic, gory, vicious torture flick.
Yes.
So that one
is on Tubi, so anyone can.
It is on Tubi. I've never received a paycheck for it, so I don't know what the numbers are. I don't even know where it's playing because the distributor, like, we signed it with a distributor. Like, distribution sucks, guys. If you're like a new person to independent filmmaking and you're a filmmaker, get ready. Distribution sucks. But I'm excited. I love Truth or Dare. It's very near and dear to my heart. So I think that one's a really, really good one. We have another one coming out. I'm blanking on the name. Hold on. Give me 1 second. I know where to find it. I have a new movie coming out, which I'm very excited about. Exposure. Exposure is coming out. They haven't released the dates. It's ironically not horror so much as it is a detective mystery, but I'm super excited about that one. So look for more information coming on that soon. it was a really, really fun one that we shot in Arizona during the pandemic, which was really nice. And the people in Arizona are just phenomenal. Really, really, really great people. So loved that. And then hopefully lots more down the road.
I saw on Internet Movie Database, I guess it's not out or not. I don't know. It just says if you know about this, Shelter. I guess it's a sci-fi one or something. What is that about? Or is that not out yet?
Oh, you're right. Shelter. Sorry, it wasn't called. So they changed movie. I didn't shoot a movie called Shelter. I shot a movie called something else. They have changed it to Shelter. Shelter should be getting released. I think it's coming out this summer. I'm not entirely sure. Another movie that was pandemic shot that is very near and dear to my heart, that I'm really proud to be involved in. So love that one. That one is really, really interesting. Because I actually got to work with my new life partner who I love, and we were really good friends for a long time, and I just got to really get to know him even more on that set, and sparks flew. So it's very near and dear to my heart. But also it was just like we shot it during the pandemic with like it's Alex Huang, his wife, and then Thomas Haley, my love and my partner, and then another actor, and that's it. So it was literally just like the five of us.
Mm-hmm.
So about as indie filmmaking can get, and I'm really proud of all the end result. I think they did a really great job, all things considered.
Right. Yeah, and you don't always need a big cast for a good movie.
No, what it's about figuring like what how can you work with what you have?
True. Yeah.
Right. Because not everyone's going to have $1 million. Not, when we shot it in the pandemic, so like that was when you weren't allowed to have more than 10 people in a room, and then also like every person you brought into the mix, if they were sick, it could stop filming. So it's like, how can we do everything that we need with the least amount of people possible? Right? Like all hands on deck. Let's just get her done. So it was really, 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 really a good time.
Oh yeah. Yeah. People were getting creative during that time. Like, what was it? Corona zombies or something to that effect. They split, they like filmed, they only had like a few people and they filmed spots and then they split it into like with another movie. So they like merged and made a new movie with like an old movie with their filming and yeah, people got really creative with that.
Oh yeah. Well, they had to. We were all locked in the house and none of us could do anything that we loved. Yeah. We had to.
Yeah, it's amazing like how creative people got it.
Mm-hmm.
What was the movie where they did a seance over Skype? I forget what it was called.
Ghost.
That's just asking for trouble. Things are going to go wrong.
Yeah.
And you're going to be alone and no one's going to be able to save you.
Right.
Yeah. It's like,
yeah, last week, I walked in, we ordered food before our stream last week, and we went in, picked it up, and I'm always wearing, I have a beanie that's Silence of the Lambs on it. And we walked into the restaurant, and the guy looks at me. He goes, "Oh, I like that movie." And I was like, "Oh, cool." And he's like, "Yeah, I got my girlfriend into watching movies, and she really likes Unfriended, which is another type, kind of like Host and whatever we're doing." So I was like, "Oh, cool." And so I was like, unzip my coat. I have a Trick or Treat shirt on, from Sam, and my purse has a Return of the Living Dead zombies on it. It's Dawn of the Dead. It had Bub on it. So I was like all dick. It was like secretly, this like I had horror stuff everywhere. Like now they're coming to get you, Barbara.
Nice.
To get you, Barbara.
Right. But yeah, I forget about my hat sometimes. I have two of them. One has Jaws on it, and the other one that's more you could see it because the whole thing's just a shark head, and the other one's just a black beanie. It just says Silence of the Lambs right there.
I love that though. Another reason why the horror is the best genre, because everybody supports it so much. Like those of us who love it support it. And I think that's such a wonderful, wonderful way to be.
Yes.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah. I don't know if you saw or not, but Chadrick, he was saying that he saw you in Truth or Dare, and he loves that movie. Thought it was great.
Oh, thanks, Chadwick or Chadrick. I really appreciate that.
Let's see. And I think that's it. The question there. If anyone else has any other questions too, I'll be sure to get that off. Let's see. Anything that you can tell us about yourself that fans may not know about, whether interests, hobbies, talents, anything?
Well, there's so many things. Well, not that you don't know about. Like, I have so many more ideas. I want to do even more fun horror films. So I'm really excited that kind of for me in Los Angeles, California, the world is very much returning to normal. So I'm really excited for that. Things as far as you don't know. Well, I mean, I think most people get the fact that I love this. Every once in a while, somebody challenges me, and they think it's an act. I don't have enough time in the day to act and pretend that I like something that I don't. And
Exactly.
my love of genre is, and love of genre is a lifestyle. It's not. It's a huge passion.
Right.
I absolutely
Women get
love
it more than men do. I'll say that because I've been questioned. It's like, oh yeah, well this and that. I'm like, no.
Oh yeah, people like when I was touring with Truth or Dare, some people even tried to say that like I was just pretending to have directed it because there was no way a woman could have directed it. And I was like, okay, great. Why don't you just do me a favor, show up to the sequel, and I'll put you in it, and I'm gonna kill you in a fucking horrific way. And doing
I love it.
And I was like, let's be really clear. Just because we don't always tell you what we're thinking doesn't mean we can't think darker than you ever could imagine.
Exactly. I think that's why my husband says what he does about me.
So if I say I don't believe you, will you tell me in a horrible way, please?
Don't even tempt me, Steven.
I'm going to die in the worst
Don't
way
let the
possible.
lipstick and lashes fool you. This could just be like so that if I'm ever in a court of law, that you don't think I could ever to have done it.
Exactly.
Like, this is all part of the rules, guys.
This is why we watch. Yeah, this is exactly why we watch true crime.
Oh, I love true crime. True crime is really like the gift that keeps giving to horror filmmakers. You ever run out of ideas? Pick a subgenre and find a true crime podcast, and you will be flooded with an endless amount of new ideas. And even like in Truth or Dare, like the bottle scene is inspired by Fatty Arbuckle. I don't know if you know that Hollywood legend or urban legend, I should say, but like he really did have sex with a woman in a champagne bottle and really did accidentally kill her.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. It's like a real thing.
Mm.
Yeah. Because it creates a suction cup that can pull on the wrong things in the wrong way.
Gotcha.
As we saw in Truth or so
exactly. So true crime. But as far as I'm really passionate about animals, so if you follow me on social media, you'll see more of that. I hope to see more of that. I want to continue to make some really great graphic, vicious horror films with some of the best people. So you'll be seeing that. Oh, I know. I do beauty YouTube, which is a little bit like, ironically, it's the more controversial thing that I ever do. So I do like my own Botox and filler and stuff on camera, and people act like I'm killing babies. And of all the things I could get kicked off YouTube for, it's that. It boggles my mind. And I'm like, guys, I just really like Botox. It's fine. But some people are like, oh my God, we can't believe you did that. I'm like, watch my movie. It gets so much better. So I guess maybe the surprising thing might be that I love needles. Yes. Put all the needles in my skin all the time. Yes. So if you follow me on social media, you'll see all of that as well. All of the movie stuff is fake. All of the DIY beauty is real. So, but yeah, that's pretty much it. Like, honestly, that's really kind of my life in a nutshell. Like living in California, horror movies, DIY beauty and skincare, and furry animals.
Nice.
Furry animals, not furries. Let's get that clear.
No, now, furries, those are scary.
Yeah.
I don't know, have you ever seen them? Or like, and they also tend to travel in packs. You don't usually see one; you see like 12.
I still gotta watch that movie. It's on might still be on Tubi. What is that like? Was it Fury Furbies or Night of the Furbies or something? Where they accidentally kill one of them in the group, and then they go psycho on the people that shot their friend or something.
Huh, I never heard of that one.
Is that based off of a true story? Probably. Like, it's a weird subculture. If you've ever like that's I'm not judging. Like, you do you. You have a kink, that's great.
Yeah.
I don't understand that one.
Right.
all.
Like,
I'm
and you
totally agree with you on that one.
Or like the subculture of people that like believe that they are these things. I was on a movie set and the effects artist brought his wife who firmly believed she was a unicorn.
Sorry.
It was strange. It was very strange. She just sat there drawing because apparently unicorns draw. I don't know. It was very strange. Very weird.
Creative, I guess.
Right? And she like trying to eat like with her hooves was hard. And then I was like, I grew up on a farm. Horses don't like unicorns. In theory, unicorns would eat what horses eat, which is like grass and hay. You're definitely eating potato chips. Pretty sure that's not what you should eat. Anyways, it was really strange. There's so many things I don't understand in life.
Yeah, exactly.
Furries and people that believe that they're unicorns. No judgment. Happy. You
Yeah.
go live your best life. I just don't understand that.
Right.
Don't get it.
Totally agree with
Boggles
that.
my mind. No judgment. We can all exist and you have
Yes.
a right to believe whatever you want, but I just don't get it.
right.
Like the furries, like I understand like dressing up. I understand cosplay.
Yeah.
I guess I can, I don't know, maybe it's a comfort thing. I do love me a good onesie just because they're so comfortable and they're not restrictive,
Right.
and you can like eat and drink all you want and you're in a onesie so that nothing ever gets too tight.
Yeah, I got a Scooby-Doo onesie.
Right?
I can look like Scooby.
Maybe it's like the onesie, maybe, I don't know. Some people are like, 2023, people get weird.
Right.
Any advice to anyone who wants to act or direct?
Yeah, don't give up. Just keep fighting to make your reality possible. Don't listen to people who say you can't do it. There's ways around everything, and keep trying and keep fighting to make your art and do it for the right reasons. If you're doing it for money, there's so many other things that you can do that will make you more money faster with less work. You have to be in this because you love it. And if you are, then you will be able to find a level of success, but understand also that that may or may not be something that means that you meet your financial goals and your personal goals and your, like, understand sometimes there's different, sometimes you have to compartmentalize your life, and it might just be that maybe you love making movies and your love of making movies is great, but you still have to work a job to pay for your apartment or your home or your car, and that's okay. So figure out how you can do it in the long term, not just in the short term. I see a lot of people that really like try and they like take out loans or they save, like they get their parents to help them like pay for their bills, and they're really trying to like just figure out how they can just do that. They just want to be an actor, they just want to be that, and they burn out really quickly because the stress of trying to make a job that's hard to do, number one, and number two, that's hard to do and make a livable wage is very challenging, and they kind of burn out as a result. So understand that it might not be that you start doing the thing that you really love, that you're passionate about, and you start earning a livable wage or a wage that meets your financial goals, which also I encourage everybody to think about that, because something that I don't see enough people, just to be a little bit boring for a moment, this is not the fun part of filmmaking. We've talked about like, the staying in the crack dens and the having one meal a day, and all of that's way more fun. But like the reality of the matter is we don't really live in a world where if you're doing anything outside of network television or major Hollywood productions, you don't have residuals. So everybody needs to be mindful of the fact that you should absolutely pursue your art, but you also need to make sure that you're financially stable and that you have some kind of retirement plan or something, because you're not going to be able to work every day for the rest of your life. That's just not a foreseeable option. So really making sure that you understand what are you doing to make sure that you're financially stable while you're pursuing your dream, because so much of being successful in this industry is about luck. You just have to keep fighting forward, but making sure that you're not going to be homeless, I think, is crucial, and making sure that you haven't put too much stress on your family. That might mean that you work a day job. For the record, I can't tell you my backup day job, which I never had to do, thank goodness, but I was perfectly prepared to do it, was Starbucks, because Starbucks has an early morning shift, at least did before the pandemic, where you could work like 5 a.m. till I think it was noon or 11 a.m. And I was like, you know what? If I'm ever like down to this amount of money in my account, I'm going to go work at Starbucks. Why? They do healthcare. They pay decently. And the job, the time that I could pick the early morning schedule, which I hate mornings, but it would enable me to still have most of my day available for meetings, for writing, for developing projects, for going to auditions. So figure out what that looks like in the bigger picture. Don't just focus on, well, I just want to act, so I'm just going to act. Because I think for most people, it's not sustainable and you just burn out quicker. So really figure out, what does it mean, like bigger picture? How can you achieve all of your goals? Okay, so you want to always be making horror movies. Great. That's an achievable goal. What does that look like for you? What does that mean? Does that mean that you're trying to do this to earn your full livable wage? Does it mean that you're going to work part-time so that you can pay for your bills, so that you can really do this as like your passion? Does it mean, like, what does it look like? And figure that out. And don't depend on movies to like pay you residual. Like, I'm telling you, there's going to be a lot of people in the next 20 years that are fucked hardcore because they've been working in some degree in the film industry, barely scraping by, only to realize they never got that thing that generated a huge amount of money or consistent revenue. And now the roles are fewer and farther between, or the movies offers are fewer and farther between, and they're not paying their bills, and they are past the point of being able to get a job somewhere where people want to hire them, and they don't really have a skill set, and they're too old to learn a skill set. And then what? So big picture. And there's nothing wrong with having a day job if you need to do that to live your best life. It's a marathon. It's not a sprint.
Right.
Yep, good advice. Let's see. Let's just make sure no other last questions. It's been over 2 hours now, so anything else you want to say? You can stay on longer if you want, or we can wrap it up. It's up to you.
Well, I should probably wrap up because I know I've got a ton of other stuff, but it's been really great talking to you, and thank you for joining me. And anyone can follow me on all of my social media, obviously. Like I said, I'm really excited to get more back into it. We're going to do Mania, Lilith, and an ending are going to go through distribution, hopefully in the next few months, and we'll get announcements on that. Once I get those through the distribution plan, I am looking at re-releasing Truth or Dare. So I would love to re-release a director's cut because I don't think my Truly Vicious cut ever got the credit it needed. It was on a foreign release, but that's pretty much it. So I would love for that to see the light of day, possibly do a sequel. We have Exposure coming out soon. So as soon as I have more information, that'll be shared as well about where you can watch that. And then we have a few other films, Shelter as well, coming out. So I'm really excited. So it's a good time.
Yep,
It's a good time. I also really like technology now is at a place where anybody can make movies and anybody can share their art with the world. So that's good and also bad. Use it for watching. Use it for good.
I got your Instagram in the chat. Did you want me to share any other ones? I didn't know since you said you don't use Twitter, I didn't know if you want me to.
I need to. You can share it now. I need to get back on. I haven't been on in like a month and a half. But yes, I need to.
I had that ready to go, so I just wanted to know
go
if you
for it. No, we're gonna get back on Twitter. We're gonna, like, the IMDb. You can always come on and see what I'm up to on there as well. And there's a Facebook page, Jessica Cameron. That would be great. But I'm pretty easy to find.
All right. And once all that comes out, you're always welcome back to talk about anything new once it's out. So, all right.
Thank you. I would be honored, darling.
All right. Thank you very much. We appreciate you coming out and hanging out and talking. So.
Thank you guys for having me. I appreciate it, and you.
All right. Have a good night.
Thank you. You guys too. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
All right. So yeah, as I was saying earlier, tonight or tomorrow, whatever, we move ahead 1 hour. So that's gonna be fun. So instead of getting up at 6, 5, whatever, I'm gonna lose my hour, but it was fun though. So next week we got Sarah Booth coming on. She was in Scare House recently on Three Pines. That's on Amazon. Some other variety TV shows. We'll be talking to her. And then the 25th, for people who are fans of the Evil Bong movies and Ginger Dead Man, Rob and Cindy will be joining us.
So. Yeah, I still got to do thumbnails for them. I just been working so hard on my projects this week. I haven't gotten around to it.
Mm-hmm. So, but yep, that's fine. So, all right. Thanks for everyone who joined us and listened to us later on, catching the replays and podcasts, Spotify, Apple, all that. we'll see you next week. Have a good night.
All right.
Bye.